All right. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Welcome to another episode of Grizzly's Cave. This is Grizzly Andrew, and I have another very special guest with me tonight. But before I introduce my guest, I do want to plug the GoFundMe account that I have mentioned in previous episodes. The account is Help Ben Build a Future for Indie Wrestling Stars. The link is gofund.me/9 B as in boy, 2 F as in Frank, C as in Charles, 903. And any donations would be greatly appreciated. And like I've said in other episodes, folks, we definitely need to keep independent wrestling alive as long as we can. And I believe my guest would agree with me as well. And I also want to plug the next NAW wrestling event. It will be March the 8th at 7 p.m. Doors will open between 6 and 6:30. Ticket prices are as follows: 5 and under get in free. Ages 6 to 12 will be $5, and anybody over the age of 12 it will be $8. Concessions are offered, and they're really fairly priced concessions, and it's good quality food. This is a family friendly promotion, and I promise you will not be disappointed. And I know my guest, as well as everybody else affiliated with the NAW promotion, we would greatly appreciate it if you all can make it out. All right, without further ado, my guest at this time, he is a wrestler with a NAW promotion. I had the luxury of meeting him back in June of last year whenever I attended the show as a fan. He is the former NAW heavyweight champion, none other than Coy Daniels. Coy, thank you for being on Grizzly's Cave tonight, buddy.
Hey, no problem, bud. How you?
I'm making it, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm really good. Really excited to be on the show.
I'm really excited to have you on here as well, man. We haven't really had a chance to really get to talk a lot, at the shows and all that since I've come on with the promotion. So, man, I'm looking forward to learning a lot about your background in the business. So, first question I will ask is, when did you start training to get into the business?
Well, before you do that, you
Hmm.
said you met me last year. We kind of had a little run in a couple shows ago, if you remember, during a certain cage match.
Oh, I definitely do remember that. Yes, very much so. Um, yeah, that was quite a run in that we did have. Um, Nothing like me getting my clock cleaned by Johnny Hardwood, and nothing like getting drug out of the cage and drug up the steps and thrown into the back. Last
It
thing,
happens. It happens to the best of us.
yes, sir. Last thing I remember was screaming, "No, please don't," and then getting thrown through the curtain. So,
Yeah, it was probably not one of your best decisions that day.
no,
But
you're right. I should have done what Miss Patty had said when I was searching for that key. She had said for me to get my ass back up behind the table, and I probably should have done that.
hey, every man walks his own path.
Yes, sir. And I was definitely overzealous that night. So,
Well, it's very contagious in the biz, so
yes, sir.
it's hard to stand by.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But that was one hell of a cage match, though, and even the tag team cage match right before.
I tell you what, and I'm not trying to be biased. Niles probably one of the greatest indie promotions going right now. Um, just the quality, the equipment, the guys, the the management and production they do. It's not like a lot of shows. And like you said earlier, the indie scene, and the whole kayfabe and everything is, a lot of people going to the wayside. So it's good to have a promotion like now. Now actually means a lot to me. I'm very, very close to a lot of people there. So it's good. And glad guys like you are on here doing this for our guys in NAW and for everybody to hear and inviting everybody out. So it's a great job.
Yeah, buddy, I'll tell you you know, just being around you all for less than a year. I mean, it's been an absolute honor and a privilege to be a part of the promotion, and you know, to just to break in just as a commentator and everything. And um, not a lot of people know this. I've never commentated before. I mean, this is my NAW is my first ever gig, and I never had any intention of really getting involved. Which, you know, Derek used to work with me, and he was the one that.
I,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't know y'all worked together. I never knew how you broke in or I mean, I knew you were a fan. You were a really good fan. Um, you have that charisma about you, and especially when you know, I was on my heel run, um, and you carry yourself really good in the back with the boys and stuff. And I will give you props. You are a good commentator. We've talked before in the back about you know different tones in your language and calling the action and what to say, when to say it, not too early, and predicting. And and that first night I listened to you, I was like, that guy's gonna be great.
That
And it fits in good with what we're trying to do at NAW. So
well,
it's just another piece of the puzzle that you're adding to it. That's just making the promotion that much better.
well, that really means a lot hearing you say that. You know, and I very much appreciate any criticism. I'm sorry, critiquing. You know, I appreciate any advice that I can get. Because again, I am new to this, and you know, sometimes whenever I'd be calling the matches, I sometimes would forget had a live mic in my hand. I'd be thinking I had like a headset on, you know, like like the main wrestling promotions have and stuff. But yeah, man, hearing you say that, that really means a lot. Yeah, me and Derek used to work at Clark, where I work at, and he worked with us for about 6 months, and he knew I was a fan of the promote of wrestling, and he had told me he was a part of a independent promotion, and he had invited me out to a few of the shows, and I was originally intending on coming to the show in April. Well, the show was on one of the weekends that I have my oldest daughter Brianna. Well, she said, "Daddy, that's not my thing. Nah, I don't want to go." I said, "Okay." Well, then May rolls around. I said, "Well, Bree," I said, "You want to go to this show with me?" "No, Daddy, that's not my thing. I don't really want to go." I thought, "Oh, jeez." So finally, June rolled around, which is when me and you first met, and
Yes, sir.
and I told her I didn't even bother asking. I said, "Bree," I said, "Get ready. We're going to the show." And she was a little reluctant or apprehensive, but there towards the end of the show, she started to get into it, and but after that, not too long after that show, it might have been the following week. That's when Derek had asked me if I'd be interested in commentating, and um, I was like, I mean, yeah, I mean, we can give it a shot and see how it goes. And I said, if it doesn't work out, I mean, no hard feelings. So that's pretty much how I got my break with NAW. Now, um, yeah, the night that me and you met, it was actually after the show, and I'd walked up to you and I'd apologized for my old friend's actions and stuff whenever he was saying,
Oh, okay. I remember him.
yeah, well, yeah, I couldn't even hear what he was saying. I just knew he was mouthing off to you, and I kept telling him. I said, Jeremy, you need to sit down. You need to sit down. I said, Jeremy, you need to sit down because compared to the size of you to the size of him, I mean, I pretty much had a feeling you're going to squash him like a paper cup. And also his daughter was with him too, and she was telling him to sit down as well. And I was like, my God, I'm taking, I'm coming to my first ever NAL show, and I've got my daughter with me, and she's seeing all this. Hell, she ain't gonna want to come back ever again. But
You know, that was a night. There was a lot of emotions in that night. That was not one of my best nights as a person. I was in that rival with JC, which we'll get into that probably the history with me and him. But yeah, he crossed the line. He said a few things maybe he shouldn't have.
mhm.
Emotions were high that whole night. I was not very professional at stepping across the barricade, but um, yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad there's people who put space in between us. That's all I'm gonna say. I might have been in trouble.
Yes, sir. But Coy, we all, we're all human. We all, nobody's perfect, man. So I totally understand.
Absolutely.
I totally understand where you're coming from on that. Um,
And I hope he continues to come to the shows. I mean, the fans are a vital part. And to touch on something you said earlier about, being a fan of wrestling, we're all fans of wrestling. That's what we do, why we do what we do.
mhm,
And your daughter, I was very thankful. The last show we had, um, my nephew and my great nephew were able to go. We actually got to sit ringside. I got to hang out with them ringside and take little Brian out to the back and meet some of the boys and get some autographs. And he was instantly hooked. And I think it was his first ever wrestling show.
really,
And now I'm trying to get his father, which is my nephew, who's just an absolute ginormous powerhouse.
really.
Um, I'm trying to get him trained up and talk him into pursuing the route because he's always been a fan and interested. And I mean, if he gets trained up, look out. He
Oh
is
yeah.
a monster.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. That'd be awesome. I do have to ask, did you ever play like football or baseball or anything before?
So
Mhm,
I was always an athlete growing up.
mhm,
Um, I always had size on me. I never played football. My school never had a football team. We were a really small independent school in Providence. I did play baseball. I played baseball since I was old enough to hit it off a tee.
mhm.
Um, it was just something that came natural to me. I was not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty good. I was on the high school team in seventh grade, starting by eighth grade, captain at ninth grade, all the way up to senior year.
Mhm.
Um, just coming where we come from, though, there wasn't a lot of opportunities. Not a lot of people was looking at a little school like that, and we wasn't very good. We had great players,
Mhm.
but it's a team sport. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, I've always, my brother I was a pitcher and second baseman. My brother was a catcher.
Okay.
So, I mean, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, we were gathering up kids, going to the park, playing pickup games, played summer leagues, little leagues, high school, Babe Ruth. I always had my brother right there.
Mhm.
He was always my catcher because nobody ever wants to be a catcher,
Right.
but I had my own personal catcher. So it helped me tremendously, confident wise, having my brother back there. And I always had somebody to practice with 24/7.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you said Providence. You're referring to over in Webster County.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So kind of the I kind of have a similar thing with what you just mentioned. So not a lot of people know this about me. So I am originally from Princeton over in Caldwell County, but in '97, me and my mother moved to Hopkinsville over in Christian County for some of the listeners that may not know. And I went to Heritage Christian Academy for about 4.5 years. Now I played summer league baseball from like from t-ball all the way up. I did a couple of years of school ball with Heritage. Yeah, that uh, how can I say this? We had good players too, but it just something just wasn't clicking. I don't know if it was the coaching. I don't know if it just we just all couldn't find that perfect chemistry together. but hell, I'd play summer league ball with complete different teams, and I mean, we were just all in sync, you know. And
Yes, sir.
after my ninth grade year, which Hopkinsville had a Babe Ruth league as well, 15 was the last year for that. So after that, I was pretty much done with baseball at that point. But I was mainly an outfielder because I was my current height that you see me at, but I was like 115 pounds soaking wet, you know, on a good day. So um, then after I left Heritage, I went to University Heights Academy, which is where I graduated from, and uh, some of the
Boo.
some of the guys I played baseball with in the summer league, they tried to get me to come play ball with them, you know, for the high school team. But I thought to myself, ah, man, I don't know. I didn't really have a good experience playing high school ball with Heritage. I was like, I don't really want to deal with all that again, so I kind of just stayed away from it. But we never had a football team either because we were a small school. So,
You
um,
talking about University Heights?
yes, sir, University Heights Academy. I graduated from there.
It might have been a small school, but that was a powerhouse. So I remember playing them, and it was like get ready to get beat by 25 runs.
Yeah.
I think everybody on that baseball team has hit a home run off me.
Oh, really?
They were a beast.
Yeah. They took their sports programs very seriously. I will tell you that, especially their basketball program. At least back.
Basketball team was very, very good. I think wasn't they like a recruited high school team? Like not recruited, maybe like a private. Like they only took the best of the best.
That is well, we actually had a reputation of being called University of Hired Athletes, but yes, sir, there was a coach that was there whenever I started halfway into my sophomore year, and rumor, I never saw it, but I'd heard that he usually would go to these public schools and, like you said, recruit the best of the best, and they'd get be put on these scholarships and stuff, which basically they just supposedly they didn't have to pay as much a month in the tuition and all that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But I'd heard that
4 to 98,
98. You said
94 to 98. University Heights was the team around. You
okay.
didn't want to play them in any kind of tournament. They'd hurt your feelings.
Hmm. Yeah, they my senior year of high school, which that would have been in 2004, the basketball team actually did go to state. Um, Unfortunately, though, they got beat in the first round. But yeah, yeah, their baseball and basketball programs were pretty dominant back then. So, did you ever play collegiate baseball?
Oh no, I didn't. I left and went to the military right after high school.
Which branch of the military did you serve in?
Oh, I was in the United States Navy. I
Thank you.
spent a lot of time there.
Mhm.
Um, that's actually where I had my daughter, my first child,
Really?
while I was in station in Virginia.
Well, sir, I'd like to say thank you for your service.
That was my pleasure.
How many years did you serve?
I served 6 years active.
Oh, wow. Now you said in Virginia. Were you in Virginia the whole 6 years, or did you get to go travel some?
Um, I was stationed in Virginia. Then I got I did a temporary transfer billet. For 8 months, I was in Bahrain in the UAE.
Mm-hmm.
Um, came back and I said, had a relationship. She got pregnant. Um, Military is hard place to have a child.
Right.
Um, Made the decision. She wanted to stay in. I said I want to get out, be a father, and got out. Stayed in Virginia for a year or so, and came back to Kentucky.
Awesome, man. Um, I Let me think. So my papa, God rest his soul, um, he actually served during Korea with the army, and
Oh, that's awesome.
he uh, I won't go into all the details. He was technically my step grandfather, but he was married to my mama whenever I was born back in '85, and so he was papaw, from day one. And they were high school sweethearts, but he would always throw this line in. He said, "But then Uncle Sam sent my ass to Korea." So yeah, that's what happened with that. But
Well, blood, family's not always determined by blood. It's who's there for you and who you can count on. And my family was the same way. Both my grandparents, grandfathers were military men during World War II in Korea or Vietnam.
hmm
They both met their wives young, did their service, came back, married, and stayed together. Many, many years. The things you don't see no more, the
right.
40 plus, 50 plus year anniversaries and stuff. And, it was instilled in us children. And like I said, I served, my brother served in a lot of the Iraq war and stuff, and from 2001 and stuff. And, it was something we took pride in. It was, I think every male should at least do 4 years. There's a lot to learn, a lot of life skills, and putting things in perspective.
Yes, sir. So I went to school at Austin P State University over in Clarksville, Tennessee. That's actually where I graduated from. And they had a ROTC program. Now I wasn't in it, but looking back, I really wished I would have been. I really wished I would have been in or enlisted in a branch after I graduated. Um, you know, because I had some old friends in Hopkinsville that I used to watch Raw, SmackDown, and TNA with back in the around '08 and '09, and a lot of most of the uncles and the grandfather, they served in different branches of the military. But the matriarch of this family, she had said she believed like what you said, every male should serve. And looking back, I do regret that I didn't serve. I mean,
Well,
unfortunately,
I mean, it's one of those things. It's funny you say guys used to, when I was in active duty, wrestling was huge in the military. Everybody was a wrestling fan. I remember I had an apartment in Virginia Beach, and we would, when you used to have to call and order pay per views for like 50 something dollars,
oh,
we
geez.
would all throw, yeah, we'd all throw in and watch all of the, you know, WrestleManias and SummerSlams and have these parties and, the whole DX suck it and all that and stuff. That was running wild. And, that was, I mean, wrestling was huge in the military. And, it's good to see them do the salute to the troops and stuff like that because a lot of guys, away from home, that's, a lot of wrestling fans in the military. That's, what can I say? Special people.
Oh man, yeah, that you mentioned about DX and Suck It, and and Austin 316. I mean, Attitude Era was so freaking huge back then, man. It was I swear that was actually words can't really describe it. I guess the only thing, well, I guess the only word I could say, it was just awesome, incredible. Nothing but good things to say. Um, let
When
me.
I started watching wrestling in the early 80s,
hmm
I'm an old head. There's still like some territories, and Memphis wrestling was huge, and they had the Loop, Memphis, Louisville Gardens, Evansville, the Armory. I mean, or the Coliseum in Evansville. That was, I mean, it was big, and you were actually able to, as a kid, meet some of these guys that you'd watch on TV on Saturdays or Sundays, and um, wrestling was huge, and a lot of people say a lot of things about Vince McMahon, but he may have monopolized and took over territories, but he also brought wrestling from taboo to almost a mainstream electric rock star level. There's guys less famous than wrestlers. You could probably go to any continent around the world and say Hulk Hogan, and he's that known due to Vince McMahon and wrestling, and it's pretty awesome to be, especially if you're a true wrestling fan, that he was able to bring it to the forefront like that, where it's no longer, you're secretly, oh yeah, I'm a wrestling fan, to heck yeah, I'm a wrestling fan, and he may have done some other bad things, but that's for a different episode, I guess.
It's funny. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was actually contemplating on doing an episode about that lawsuit that got filed against him about a year ago, because there's been an amendment added to that lawsuit, and I looked up the actual document, and I told JC about this on the phone the other day, and it's a 67-page document, the original lawsuit, complaint, whatever you want to call it. I got to about page 30 and I had to take a break, man. I was like, oh my gosh, man. And I know it's,
I've
go ahead.
heard tidbits here and there. It's wow.
Yeah,
It's woo.
that's pretty much where I was at when I said woo. But, yeah, but, so here's my thing. So, like, I agree with you in the sense that, Vince McMahon took took wrestling from, like you said, from taboo to, you know to the national or global level, and because of him, these men and women are able to, make God knows how much money per year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know for a flat fact that's money I'll never see in my lifetime. So for that, I do commend him for that. Now, I am an old school wrestling fan, and it's funny because I didn't really hear about the term territories until, like, I was in my early 20s, because I started watching wrestling back, like, around 1990, 91, when I was just a little kid. And at that time it was just WWF and WCW. Now, yes, I know Jimmy Cornette had the Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and USWA was still going and all that, but at that time all I knew was those two. And so, yeah, when I learned about the territories, and then I heard what really happened with why the territories disappeared, I was like, yeah, that I could see Vince McMahon doing something like that. And then, do you watch Dark Side of the Ring by chance?
With that series, I think it's well done.
You broke up on me. What was that, buddy?
I said I am in love with that series. Vice Channel has done amazing job at that series, and it keeps you season to season. It keeps you waiting for the next season. It's so tough to wait on a new season.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my. When I first started watching it, I was like, damn. I was like, this is some good stuff. I mean, because I've watched YouTube videos on certain things, whether it was Brawl for All or the Montreal Screwjob or whatever. But then I watched the very last episode of season 5 about Black Saturday, and then I'm hearing all
Oh
this,
yeah.
and I'm hearing all this other stuff. I'm like, good God Almighty, man. I mean, it's just it's crazy. And but yeah, I agree with you. Vice has done really good with that series.
Well, it there's a lot of people that you know. I love kayfabe.
Mhm.
I was taught I was taught kayfabe will always be the answer to wrestling's problems. But nowadays with the internet, social media, shows like Dark Side of the Ring, they peel back the curtain,
Mhm.
and your regular mark or fan or smart mark, they get a glimpse into behind the scenes, and it's a give and take. You like the info, the I would maybe say the intrigue of looking into someone's personal life, or a feeling of knowing things about them, but at the same time it reveals and kills a lot of the magic that wrestling is.
Right.
When I was growing up, you had, man, I could watch USWA, and on Sundays there's on USA after Cartoon Express you had Superstars, and you get home from school and the AWA and it would come on and Vern Gagne and them, and
Mhm.
you've seen a lot of the pioneers wrestle, but you would see guys that you could go to Evansville and see, and that would be in your high school gym. Um, I've seen like Jeff Jarrett came to He was in Providence High School gym one year. I was
Really?
like 7 or 8,
Oh
and
wow.
but then you see them on TV and they're just bigger than life
Mhm.
characters, and the battle of good and evil and the roller coaster ride of emotions, and I mean, how can you not be hooked? It's
Exactly.
exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of what got me hooked on it too. Plus my father, which I've mentioned in the past, he's retired from Paducah and Louisville Railroad, and he always loved his recliner, and he'd always have his footrest up in the air, and he'd always have the remote control in his right hand, and always ready to turn a channel or something, or he was going to fall asleep in the recliner with the remote in his hand and stuff. And hell, he still does that to this day, and he's in his late 60s. But I digress.
Hell, I do that now.
Hell, yeah, I still do that from time to time myself. But yeah, it was.
It was weird in my family.
Hmm.
My grandfather hated wrestling.
Really.
Yeah, he was always one of them. Turn that fake stuff off. They're not punching each other.
Mm,
I wish he was still alive so I could let him know, hey, you know, you may not think what you were saying, but I can attest to it. My brother hated wrestling. I remember we would fight Monday nights, Sunday mornings, for control of the TV. We actually had a little TV in our room, and we had cable, and we would fight. He didn't want to watch it, and I was sitting there. I was like on a timer. I would see WCW was always on a weird like 8:05, 7:05, or something like that, and
right.
so I'd be counting it down, and we'd fight for control of it. My grandmother couldn't stand it. I mean, heck, my wife now hated wrestling.
Mm.
Um, but the awesome thing is, you don't know you like wrestling until you attend a live show. And I'm not talking a WWE show where you're sitting in the nosebleeds. You want to come see an amazing group of people do something, go to any independent show.
Hmm.
Independent wrestling is amazing. I never wanted to be in WWE, AEW, nothing like that. I love independent wrestling.
Yeah,
And
man.
but now she's a fan. I mean, she she lets me watch it on TV, and she supports me. I mean, she's bought my gear. I mean, when I need new, she said, "Baby, you need new gear. It's time to upgrade." And she keeps me looking sharp. And you know, oh well, we need this. Well, you need a pair of new boots. You're going, you're wrestling in this state. This month or whatever. You need to be looking good. And she's always been right there. She supports everything I do. She puts me above her stuff sometimes with wrestling. So she's allowed me to live out my childhood dream.
Boss man, don't ever let her go, man. That's awesome, man. That you have a good support system. You know what I'm saying? And I unfortunately my current estranged wife, she wouldn't let me watch wrestling whenever her and the kids were home, because I have two little girls. One will be 4 in April, and then one will be 2 in August. And now
The
she
little girl you brought to the show, that's your 4-year old?
no, sir. She just turned 12, Brianna.
Okay, she was 11 when I met her.
Yes, sir.
Well, very, very good job.
She's.
Very, very, very nice, respectful young lady. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate you saying that, sir. She
I was a girl dad for a long time. I know what it takes. It's very hard being a single father raising a girl.
yes, sir. It is. Yeah, her and her mother actually live in Nebo, and and I live out here in Eddyville. But there've been well,
Wow.
oh, you didn't know that? Yes, sir. I live out here in
No.
Eddyville. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, I drive from Eddyville to Madisonville, 3 nights a week to work my 312s, and then, and if there's a show or a training or whatever, I've got to drive back to Eddyville, try to get a little bit of sleep. Plus, I got a German Shepherd I got to take care of because she's kenneled for over 12 hours and all that. She's got to be taken care of and all that as well. But I do appreciate you saying that about Brianna because it took a while working on the manners thing. Hell, there'll be some days some of the boys will try talking to her, and she'll, just be really quiet, kind of, single word responses and stuff and all that. And I'll be like, Bree, I'm like, you can talk to them a little bit more and stuff and all that. And she's like, sorry.
It's intimidating. You got a bunch of big old sweaty men that have been beating the crap out of each other, and then you know your daughter gets I mean, I'd say behind the scenes look, to where she has access to talk, and it's like, I just seen this guy jump off a cage and land, and you talk about Justin Styles, that move he did off the top of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
It could be intimidating for a child. I mean, you know, it. My son, he's not a big wrestling fan. He's been on the road with me, but he gets bored easy. If Pops ain't wrestling, he kind of, he's on that phone. He's got that nose in that phone, and
Mm-hmm.
he don't give a crap what's going on until I'm wrestling. So
Right.
he don't go with me as much as he used to now. He's kind of got girl crazy, but
Sure.
um, it is what it is.
Yes, sir. Um, now how old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
So we're doing plugs and shout outs. Um, I got to give a shout out to my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's 23.
Okay.
She's fixing to graduate from the University of Western Kentucky with 2 bachelors and a certificate. She is an absolute beast. She's killing it. Um, and she's not too bad in the ring either.
Really?
There before she went to college, she was thinking about maybe getting into wrestling. Um, but she's been with me on a lot of journeys through this and a lot of towns, and she likes what I do, and she tells her friends up there in college her daddy's a big old wrestler and stuff, and then they meet me and they're like, he's not that bad, and my son, he's 16, he'll be 17 here about another month, and good, strong, good looking fella, and about his hair and his girlfriends, and he thinks he's a little player, but he's in love right now, so he's
Right.
doing what he's supposed to do. He's got him a little job, and he's trying to woo her over and spend money on her and everything. But I mean, he's a great kid, and um, spitting image of me. We look like twins standing next to each other, and he's my first boy. He was my first boy, and I love him to death.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Hopefully I get to meet your children someday, man. That'd be really awesome. Um,
You stick around long enough, you'll meet him.
yes, sir. Well, my goal is
I
just
don't plan on going nowhere anytime soon.
well, neither do I. Provided the good Lord above doesn't decide it's time for me to go home. You know what I mean? So, but
That is the deciding factor.
yes, sir.
Everybody has a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm planning on sticking around as long as possible, and I've been a fan of this business for over 30 years, and and now I'm getting involved. Been getting involved obviously with commentating. I've actually been going to some training sessions. I didn't know if you had heard about that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I watched a video the other day, and they had a big old boy doing backflips onto a crash pad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Couple of them big boys when they did the moonsault. I mean, it was you hurt. I mean, even landing on that big thick crash pad. I mean, it was impacting the ring and stuff and all that. You could hear it, but it was just impressive seeing that. So
I love I love the training sessions that Noel used to do. Unfortunately, with my job now, I've missed. I've had to miss shows and miss training sessions and stuff, and it kills me to open up and see them videos and see them boys. But they'll have their time with me. They
yeah.
keep on working. They'll get in there and with me and mix it up, and we'll have a good old time.
Oh yeah. And this group of trainees, I mean, they're incredible. I mean, they've
What about Chris now?
holy shit, man. And by the way, if you know we can if we use some profanity, that's fine because I always put a little thing that there's a look option that says if there's quote unquote explicit content and stuff. But man, Little Page, holy crap, he is amazing. And
I tell you what, I've seen that dude his first day. He wanted to be a trainee,
mm-hmm,
and I got in there and was working with him and stuff. And you know, my time as an in-ring wrestler is approaching. Um, Unfortunately, age catches up with everybody. It's a younger man's sport, but I mean, I'm gonna hang in there as long as I can because I absolutely love it.
right,
But I fell in love with the training, and a lot of that has to do with the guys that trained me. We'll get into that a little bit down the road. But I was watching him, and I mean, that dude didn't know wristwatch from a wrist lock, and I mean, he was just. I was like, there's no way. And this last show, I got to watch him in the ring, and you know, the kid has more heart than half the trainees there, and he wants it so bad that he's overcome, and he listens. I've always heard the ears open, mouth shut,
mm-hmm,
and he's a perfect example that he listens. He gives probably 130%,
mm-hmm.
and I was very proud of him. I was very just where he's came from. Um, it's phenomenal. I'm so proud of that kid. Now it'd be a different story when he faces me one day, but
Right.
I'm gonna light him up. But
Well, that'd be a heck of a match to be able to call and stuff, man. I yeah, Chris, he's been nothing but respectful to me since I first met him, and you're absolutely right. He's definitely got a heart for this business, and he gives, like you said, a huge amount of effort. And I did get a chance to do some training with him back in January, and dude, I mean, he took care of me. You know, he took care of me, and I'm sad to say I wasn't able to make it to the last show because Type A flu came to the McGregor household. It hit me first, and then about 3 days later, it hit Brianna, and hell, it took me a couple weeks to recover from it. I mean, it took a while for me to get my voice back, be able to get my wind back. Brianna, hell, she recovered in like 3 or 4 days. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And
well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
well,
Take care of that voice.
yes, sir, I've got to because I've got
You
to
get
be
the
able.
voice of Nall wrestling, man. You gotta take care of that.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I well, God, there was something else I was gonna say. Oh yeah, you mentioned about a young man's sport. I actually mentioned I'd said that to Justin Stahl when he was here earlier today, and because it was actually the Tuesday before the Super Show back in December. I just turned 39, and I told him, I said, man, I said, this is definitely a young man's sport. I said, I'm getting into this business a lot later in life than most people do. Most people start in their late teens, early 20s, and whatnot. But hell, I decided to break into this in my late 30s, and I'm probably crazy, but um, I I don't know if I'm sure you heard in one of the previous episodes, but I did have a day of training over at a back in 2009, and
I heard that.
it took 3 days for the soreness to go away, man. I mean the damn, and
Pictures of my first week's training. I had swollen elbows, black and blue, and it was the summer times, and the place I used to work, I used to have to dress up,
mhm,
and I'd have short sleeve polo shirts on or something. I just have these bruises and swollen elbows and limping. My legs hurt. It just. I mean, it's a labor of love. I mean, you know, I always believe you get out of it what you put in it.
Right.
Um, and when we talk about Chris, he, like you said, he's going to be respectful. He's going to be one of them guys. He's got the respect. He's got the heart. He listens. And, I mean, I can't. He's going to be a breakout star. Just watch.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. And yeah, I heard that match he had with Justin Style at the last show. I heard it was really good. I was told.
It,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
if you put a guy in a match, his first match against someone like Justin, now Justin, that boy can wrestle.
Hmm.
You get in your first match. I've been up and down the roads with Justin. There's a lot I can say, but like, I mean, thing he's done for me. And I mean, if we want to start, you know, going down memory lane like that, like, but you get somebody new in the ring with him, it's intimidating, and because he'll work you. You ain't gonna, you pack a lunch, you ain't gonna no stroll in the park with him. He'll make you earn everything you got.
I,
And the way Chris held himself in that match, and you know, like I said, I was nothing but proud of him. It was good. It was a great match to
yeah.
be his first match.
Right. And
You
yeah.
can you can only go up from there.
Right. Exactly. And you know, like I said, it was a bummer. I couldn't have been there to call that match, and you know, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, Type A flu. I mean, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing to mess with. Um, hell, I tried calling. I called. Well, I spoke with Justin after the show, and my voice was really raspy, and I was hacking and coughing like I sounded like someone that probably smoked about 2 or 3 packs, you know, in one day and whatnot. But yeah, man, he hit me. He was putting Chris over, and I, you know, and I definitely saw that, you know, from the last training session I was at last month, which I did. I went to the most recent one too, but yeah, he's an incredible guy, and I think I really foresee him having a good future in this business. Looking
I'll
back.
tell you another one that's impressed me a lot,
Hmm.
and I don't remember her name due to me being away for a while. But she's the manager of the Jolly Rogers.
Aria.
Aria, yes. When I first met her, like I didn't even know she spoke. She she just looked down. I mean, she just, you know, now she's out there with the Jolly Rogers, and she's not on a good path. She's going down the wrong way, but I think the Jolly Rogers got her turned uh, kind of on the bad side. But she's opened up, and she seems more comfortable in her skin, and she's another one to be such a small girl. She puts 110% heart in it, and you know, to watch, you know, like I said, I'm falling in love with the training aspect and watching these, you know, guys and girls come from nothing, knowing nothing about, you know, being in the ring to, you know, watching their first match and just having a smile on my face and
Right.
watching them progress to what they're doing now. And it's just, it's very rewarding. It's very awesome to see. You know, that's the future. So,
Right. Absolutely. And you know, and again, I'll say it again. I'm gonna say this: as long as I'm doing this podcast, we got to keep independent wrestling alive as long as we can. You know, because that's how these people
yeah.
get their break in the get their break in the business, and hopefully go on to, you know, the bigger promotions and stuff. You know, God willing. Um,
Yes, sir.
but well, you know, you mentioned about memory lane. So who trained you?
My training is spread out like you wouldn't believe. So in in 1996, I met this little feller, Shorty, Steve McGregor, um, Little Hank. He'd made names on the micro circuit and everything. And if you told me this kid was not going to be a professional wrestler, I would have told you you're lying, because he was the biggest fan. Everything out of his mouth was a Stone Cold quote, or you know, he was just so big into wrestling. We rode the trade school bus together,
Hmm.
and he would if you weren't paying attention, you were getting stunned on the school bus. Like, he'd sneak up behind you, little bitty guy. Built like a brick shit house, though. He was like, hey, I know this guy over here. He's got a wrestling school over in Madisonville, Gator McAllister. Like I said, I was always a huge wrestling fan. I had dated a girl whose sister was dating one of the original Kansas City Rough Riders. So I got to see them wrestle, and they were just absolutely, whew, man. You had a good day if you were in the ring with them and you were able to walk out. They were the cream de crop, man. They were legends before legends, man. There was 3 of them. There's 4 of them all together. They're all family. The Frambros, great family. Ray Senior, he comes to shows now, and it's a blessing to get to see him. He's able to smile and a hug, but if you could get chopped by him back in the day, he'd turn your chest inside out.
Oh,
and his son and his nephews, God, these guys were 6'3+, well over 300 pounds apiece, just big bruisers, man. Barry, another guy, I've got the pleasure of working with him a lot of times. But they were pioneers here, man. You talk about CCW, Coliseum Wrestling, the Madisonville Armory. These guys were it. I watched a show one time, and they set a guy on fire through a table.
No
and
shit.
That's just, these guys were, from they would go trips Memphis and back, and they never got the mainstream credit and attention. But anywhere around here, you mentioned Frambro, and you knew, look out. But amazing guys, hearts of gold. Just, that's a lot of people don't understand. A lot of your wrestlers, their gimmicks, their personas, personality is not who they are behind the scenes. I hope I don't get no flack for saying that, but
no.
I've met some really great people that, if you watch them wrestle, you're like, that dude's an asshole. But that's the same guy behind the scenes that's, buying a kid a toy from the gimmick table that maybe his parents couldn't afford or something, and stuff like that. Real great guys, or take time to sign autographs in the parking lot because you just watched one of the best independent matches you've ever seen at the time. And so back to Shorty, he takes me over here to Massville, and Gator has this humongous building. He's got a ring on one side, workout equipment on the other side, and he's got headshot pictures of people, Undertaker, Dutch Mantel. Dutch Mantel shows up there, and all this training and stuff. And training back then was real different. It wasn't for the lighthearted. My first day there, I hit a bunch of wrestlers, like I said, the Rough Riders and stuff. They basically, for 2.5 hours, beat the snot out of all of us. And it was done. I was like, man, I can't wait to come back. I don't know. It was a labor of love, I guess. But, started going over there, was working to it. Back then, you used to have to get a yellow card. And the only way you got that card was when the guy who trained you signed off on it. Now, say as it may, any guy can get a physical, send in $25, and get a license.
Well, it's actually went up to $40 now. I found that out back in November whenever I did my physical and got my license.
Of course it has.
But I didn't mean to cut you off there, boss man. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine, bud. But yeah, like back then you earned that license, and you didn't wrestle unless you had that yellow card. And they didn't come easy, and they didn't come fast. Like I said, you really had to earn it. So about a year, in the 6-7 months into my training, I ended up graduating and then going to the military. So all wrestling came to a halt. Like I said, did my time in the service. lived in Indianapolis for a while with my daughter, moved back down. It wasn't until 2000, I want to say 2017, I was working and I ran into a guy, Roughhouse Rickard.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother's Rowdy Red,
Right.
true vet. He ran a promotion here. That dude, I mean, you talk about one of the old school guys. Rowdy Red's been up and down like through here. I mean, he's definitely one of the legends. And so we would just talk wrestling, and he was still doing it. And I was like, I wonder if I could still do it. And he got the wheels turning and turning everything. And there was I'd go to some shows down there in Nebo and stuff and watch, these guys. And, well, some things happened. Then, I knew Viper from back in the CCW days in Evansville. And, I met Josh and Derek, and they were, hey, we're going to start a wrestling company.
Right.
Well, at that time, there was already another wrestling company there. And it kind of became the fittest who was going to, come out on top. I mean, it was tense there for a while. There was some friendships tested. There was some questions about loyalty. We just wanted to wrestle. And Viper actually came with the NAL acronym. That was a promotion that him and his late partner Grunge had. So it was an honor to actually have that name. But yeah, I got in touch with Josh and Derek, and they was like, hey, you want to train? We'll train you. So that's how I got started with them. And Josh quickly became like a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, I love them both. I tell them both I love them. Viper was a little hands off. He has a heck of a schedule, but I remember when they first started training me, we'd be in Josh's backyard. He had a ring in his backyard.
Okay.
And I would show up. I would show up every day, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And I remember 8 o'clock at night, we're stringing up floodlights and just me and Josh out there till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. He was like, man, I got to work in the morning, and we spent so many nights out there every single day. I would show up and he's like, man, I cannot today. I'm like, but then Josh's love for the sport. All right, man, come on, let me get dressed. And next thing you know, we're out there 12 hours.
Oh man.
We'd sit out there to eat and drink lunch, dinner, and just talk wrestling and work on different moves and everything. And he told me, he said, man, I do this because I see how bad you want it.
Yeah.
And I did. I mean, like I said, I was in my early 30s or late 30s. And I was putting out more than younger guys was. I mean, my training was 5, 6, 7 days a week, and it wasn't under less than 4 hours. I mean, these guys, and then, they rented a building here in Madisonville, put a ring up in it, and man, we spent days and days in there. And Derek was crucial. Derek was the ultimate heel.
Okay.
If you want to go to school 101 to learn how to be a heel, listen to Derek.
Okay.
The dude has the mic skills, the attitude, the crowd work. I wanted to be a big heel.
Mm-hmm.
So I attached myself to Derek. And like I said, me and Derek, he'd call me up and say, hey, there's a show in Hartford. I need I need an opponent. Its show starts at 9:30. Can you get here? Boom, I'm down. He'd take care of me. I get down there. He took care of me. We get a wrestling match. Hey man, there's a county fair down here, and there's only 3 guys showed up. They're doing a show open to the public. Can you get here? Boom, I get here. Like Derek got my first match in Evansville and it was actually, the show was broadcast on TV on the Evansville channel at like 2 in the morning. There's nothing, you know, but it was my first ever TV match, and it was a triple threat with me, him, and Chase Nally, and first ever TV match. So I owe him a lot on that one, and that's how I got started with them guys. And you know, it was the original 4 or 5 of us, Alan Blix, and we put a lot of time in together.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I've had a lot of those. I've had quite a few of those 4 or 5 hour conversations with Josh, and that was actually something. You know, he had told me that he had spent a lot of time with you. You know, get training you and everything, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he told. I didn't remember how many hours he would spend a day with you, but he did tell me that I just remember that it was a lot, and but I mean that's awesome. I mean because I've told this man, and I know you heard on the previous episode. I mean the man is a genius with storylines and angles and psychology. You know,
Brother,
psychology.
I can tell you now.
Hmm.
So Josh shoot job, he drives a truck.
Right.
There's times me and that man have sat on the phone while he's driving 4, 5, 6 hours. My old lady, she's mad because I'm on the phone. But when me and him got on the phone together, like if you ever had a brother, you know, that even though you wasn't by blood, I love that man like a brother.
Hmm.
Um, we would sit on the phone 4, 5, 6 hours,
Yeah.
and the guy's mind, JC's mind, we would throw out ideas and how about this and how about that, and he would have a complete storyline for not only himself but for Justin Styles, for Sid, for me, for all these guys for 6 months ahead. Like he knew what direction. I mean, this dude is a natural,
Oh God, yeah.
and his mind constantly turns. Some of the best. I mean, him and I'll tell you now, him and Derek have made me who I am in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Because his ideas. Well, I mean, I don't know if you went to his father's memorial
No, sir.
and Justin Styles' father's memorial. They had it the same night, the benefit memorial show.
Hmm.
The big heel turn, putting JC through a table, putting his father's shirt over his face and everything. That started my big heel run rival with him.
Hmm.
That was him. I told him, I ain't doing that, especially not tonight. He said, yes, you are.
Right.
And I'm happy to say I'm one of the biggest heels down. I was one of the biggest heels down at Nebo
Yeah.
because of Josh.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Josh. That music hits, and people just want to hug him.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen nothing like it. He's the ultimate baby.
Oh God, yeah. He definitely is. Um, the Whenever the night that me and you met last year, that was when AC Flash turned on him and became Alexander Cage after that. But I remember when you made your entrance, and oh my God, man, it was like when those people got up and stuff to boo you, say all sorts of stuff. It was like a dang lynch mob, coming at you. You know what I mean? And I was like,
I'm
God, I was like,
very fortunate in my career. Um, I've never been stabbed, um, but I've had things thrown at me. I've had people trying to fight me. Like I said, Justin Styles made me a fantastic heel.
mm-hmm,
JC's storylines made me a fantastic heel.
mm-hmm,
Um, like I said, I can't say nothing more about them two guys. Just what they've done and what they still do for independent wrestling is like, I mean, they deserve so many accolades.
oh hell
But
yes,
I've been able to go all over and take their teachings, and I've I've had a lot of people, like I've had to delete people off Facebook and They just want to get on there and tell me how despicable I am, how they hate me, and wish such bad things for me. And like you said, your friend, he wanted to get a little testy, and which I loved it. I mean, I'm doing my job. If I can make you that mad, then I won. You
Right.
know, so
Right. If you can get the people that riled up, then you did your job, right?
yes, sir.
Well, and I thought, that night being a fan, because I went, because they, because we're able to come around to the back and shake hands with, with some of the wrestlers and everything. When I saw you, I think I need to go, even though I had nothing to do with it. I felt like it, out of respect for you and what you do for the business. I was like, now I need to apologize for my friend's actions and stuff. And like I said, I had no idea he was gonna pull that stunt. I didn't, and I'd known that man for over 10 years actually. So that was
Yeah.
that was a little bit of a curveball there. You know what I mean? But
I I don't hold no grudges. I haven't seen him. I hope he comes back. I hope he enjoys the show. If he wants to boo me or cheer me, whatever he wants to do. I mean, I'm grateful he's there. Bought a ticket. I harbor no ill will against him. Just next time, he just needs to pick what he says more careful.
right, and you may not remember this, but I remember, but I did tell you that I really enjoyed the show, and I remember thanking you and everything, for the show and all that, and
Uh,
I was actually gonna shake Josh's hand too, but his daughter, whom I work with as well, she had, but it was right after the show, and it wasn't after the show ended. It was after y'all had your match. It was before the tag match between S&M and Jolly Rogers for the belts, and she had said that he had broke his hand or broke his fingers or something, and
yeah,
I didn't know which hand it was, and I didn't want to shake his hand and grip it, and then wind up causing more damage. You know what I'm saying? And
it was his dominant hand.
mm,
He uh, he had some nasty looking fingers there for a while. And I think that's the same day I hit him in the head with the bat. so he did. Well, the thing about I say about Justin and I say about JC, man, them boys like nothing's gonna be easy with them.
mm-hmm,
You see, the matches with JC that I had there at Nebo. I mean, we beat the crap out of each other. Um, there was nothing, light about it. There was nothing, our matches were pure emotion.
sure,
And, like I said, you got a guy that, trained you. You got a guy that, is like a brother to you. And then, you know, I, I did what I did to him on a day that meant something to him. And, you know, like our matches were fueled by emotion and we were allowed to have the crowd feel that,
mm-hmm,
and in a sense, it was magical. In a sense that we were able to hold the crowd like we did, but at the same time, it was 100%. We're we're putting everything in the matches. I mean,
mm-hmm.
he's pushed me to limits, and like I didn't think I could even go to.
Right,
Every time I wrestled Justin to the limits, like I mean, them boys they can go, and there's a lot of guys there at Nall that are just James Kendrick. Um,
mm,
oh my gosh, dude, he's man.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Roxo, I love Roxo to death, man. Them boys, Jolly Rogers is a great tag team. They'll never be better than me and my tag partner, but that's a different story, different promotion. But these guys are just, you know, we have probably the best locker room around as far as guys and the wrestling mentality, and we're there to do a certain job, and these guys do that job to the best of their abilities. Like it is phenomenal. I've never left a Nall show and been like, man, it sucked. I've always had, it's a short drive from Nebo to my house, but I've been, man, you talk about adrenaline rush, you know,
oh yeah,
it's something.
yeah, man. I know I've only been involved with you all for, we're going on 7 months now, but I mean, each and every one of you all have been nothing but awesome and great to me, and y'all have treated me with the utmost respect, and y'all didn't have to, but you all have done that for me, and and I said this about Justin, that he gave me my break in the business. I'm forever indebted to him. I'm forever indebted to you guys because y'all been nothing but good to me. Y'all been good to Brianna. I mean, y'all treat us like we're family, and I can't thank you and the rest of the NAW crew. I can't thank y'all enough for that. So,
Well, a lot of people, what they don't see, it's funny you say treated you like family, and we always say family show. But look at everything that goes on. Um, when we first started, JC's wife, his mother, his father, his brother, they were hauling rings, hauling concessions. Miss Betty,
mhm.
Justin's wife, working concessions, working tickets in the front. My wife, she worked the front, taking tickets. Now you still have Miss Betty at concessions and her kids or some family members. You got Mama Flash running around the ring getting mad at everybody, and Heather, she, JC's wife, she's all over the place, making sure this is right, that's right, this is where this is going, what directions, what's next. Josh's brothers, working music, and it's always been a family thing, and no, it started that way, and you know, Josh's family's been great, Derek's family's been great. God bless. We miss Randall, we miss David, and two of the best guys I've ever met. That you know, the void that they left is just it never be filled. Um, Randall, man, Justin's dad, he stood over there and we did the trainings in that old building. I mean, that thing didn't even have heat,
Mhm.
and he would sit there in his overalls and he'd watch me. Big money, that's my big money right there. He's like, you're gonna be my big money star. And he had a lot of faith in me, and I mean, God bless him. It hurt my heart when I heard he passed, and
Yeah.
um, and like I said, JC's father, he man, a great guy. Always talk to you, and he'd be hanging around the back and just just some of the best words of wisdom and cracking jokes, and like I said, you had to be a great guy to be with Mama Flash anyway. So
Right. And
um, like I said, I love and respect all of them, and it's just like I said, it's been a family thing since it started. So
yeah,
that's the way they treat you.
yes, sir. Um, so the first long conversation I had with JC, it was actually right before it was on my birthday, before leading up to the Super Show, and we talked for shoot hellfire. I'd say we probably talked for a good 3 or 4 hours. I was actually heading home from Clarksville, and because I was told something. I'd said to Justin, I was like, "Well, do you mind if I call JC about this?" He's like, "Oh no, man, go right ahead." So we talked. We talked about what he had going on through his mind, and I think it was that conversation that I said to him. I was like, "Man, why are you not booking for like WWE, AEW, TNA?" I said because you do a hell of a lot better job than these quote unquote creative teams that they've got going and stuff, and you know, but
Got
um,
you, Jesus.
but he
No.
I mean, one thing I like about the storylines and these angles is that they're stretched out. They're not hot shotted. They're not a month, maybe 2 months if you're lucky. I mean, they're
Yeah,
several
yeah.
months to a year, and I mean that makes it more special. And
Well, like I told you, he would sit on the phone with me 4, 5, 6 hours, and he'd have almost a year of storylines in his head. And what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What if we did this different? And I'm saying, man, phones would go dead. He would be pulling over, having to sleep on the road, and I'd be rolling into work with 3 hours of sleep because I was on the phone with him while he drove. And I mean, you know, I'll put this in there, and you know, we were talking about the family thing, and we can move on to more lighthearted subjects. But you know, wrestling's not hard. What is hard is the hardest thing I've experienced during wrestling is when JC and Justin both lost their father. The hardest thing in wrestling I've ever done is to sit in that congregation at the funeral and watch my best friends try to deliver a eulogy about their fathers, and that's the hardest things I've done in wrestling.
Yeah.
Because I love them guys that much that, yeah.
No, I completely understand, man. And you know, I hate to say that I never got to meet either one, but from what I've heard, the stories that I've heard about them, they they sounded like they were, you know, one of a kind, uh, one of a kind men. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I, but um, getting back to that conversation, I kept calling JC boss. You know, and I call you boss. I call Justin boss. I call everybody boss. And he told me, he's like, I'm gonna stop you right there. He said, I'm not your boss. He said, I'm your brother.
Yeah.
You know, he said we were brothers in this. And you know, you know, and again, him and Justin, you, all of y'all are family to me. You know, y'all are the friends and family that I've wanted my whole life. You know, and I said to JC, I said, man, I said, where the hell have you been for the last 20 years? You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I didn't have a JC Flash or a Justin Styles in my life. You know what I mean?
I
And
get that.
and
I
it
get that.
and you know, because it sucks going through life not having having friends like that. Now I did have friends, but you know, they weren't like, I had one that was a diehard wrestling fan like me that I went to college with, but I definitely didn't have a Flash or a Styles, you know, or a Coy Daniels or a James Kendrick or Nick Willis. You mean, you know, you get what I'm saying? And
I hear you. I had that. I mean, I have biological brothers, but then I have my brothers. I mean, you're talking about Friendsgivings, Christmas dinners together, 4th of July's, Halloween parties. You'll find us all there. Like it's,
right, right,
you know, like, you know, Mama Flash, you know, I love her like she's my own mother. I'd do anything in the world for her. You know, Heather and Miss Betty, I mean, they're like my sisters. I got so much love for everybody in all. It's crazy that wrestling brings people that close.
yeah. It's amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, hell, not a lot of people really know this about me, but I did some time in a community theater for about 6 years, and you know, and it was I can't really say it was really a. Let me backtrack. So the you know the community college of Madisonville has the Gleam of Mar, and I did a couple of programs over there, but I also did some plays over in Greenville at the Palace Theater, and you know, don't get me wrong, great people to you know meet and work with and
So you're
stuff.
used to wearing tights.
No, shockingly, I never had to wear tights, thank God. But I had to wear some. I had to wear some
You start
crazy
calling you
costumes.
Twinkle Toes, bud.
Oh no, no, hell no, no twinkle toes.
Got there dancing on stage and doing musicals.
Buddy, yeah, yeah, I've done two musicals and several plays, and oh my God, uh,
But that's what makes you a great commentator, though.
you think?
You have that background.
Well, it's really helped me with some of the psychology, and I didn't even realize I had psychology until JC pointed it out to me in one of our many conversations and stuff. And but yeah, man, I'll tell you, musicals. If you're an extra, oh God, so many. The last musical I did was Young Frankenstein back in 2016, and I couldn't tell you how many freaking dance numbers I had to be in and learn, and you had to learn all this shit in like 6 weeks, and buddy, it was very tiring, you know. But I will say this, it
It, the psychology side, JC and Justin were training me, um, and Alan was there, and uh, it wasn't it wasn't the kind of training you would think. Anybody can do the moves. You can be taught the moves. The important thing is, why are you doing the moves?
hmm
When are you doing the moves? You know, what's the crowd feeling? What do you feel from the crowd? I'm telling you now, I have the best teaching in psychology. Um, and a lot of that was from the 3, 4, 5 hour conversations. A lot of it was from the work that they put into me. They showed me the right way. And I mean, the locker room etiquette, the respect for, I mean, I've been a lot of places due to these guys. I've won a lot of championships from what these guys have taught me, and met some crazy, amazing people. And I've wrestled some WWE Hall of Famers um, in some different states from here. And it's all because of what they've taught me and how they taught me, that I could, be be worthy enough to stand in the ring against a WWE Hall of Famer and have a great match with them.
man, that's awesome. Um, yeah. So where else have you worked at, if you don't mind me asking?
Brother. So I split a lot of my time um, in Indiana. Um, there was a man up there. I got to give him all the props too. He goes as Kamala Jr.
Okay.
Um, they're from Bedford, Indiana. It's about 4 hours from here. I went up, did a show for him, and I mean, I was greener than baby poo. Um, I messed up. I no sold his top heels. Um, I stood up just like nothing happened. Um, he pulled me in his office, gave me a tongue lashing like you wouldn't believe, and it's the sweetest man in the world. I love it. I love Pops. I love him to death. Um, he gave me a tongue lashing in his office after the show. Said if I ever did that again, blase blase, I'll see you next show. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, jeez.
um, and you talk about that Kamala Jr., he's been around. I mean, he's got connections everywhere. Um, and he really continued my education. Um, I could call him anytime, ask him questions. I would leave at 4 in the morning to be in Bedford by 8 o'clock training sessions, work out for 8 hours, 300, 400 Hindu squats, ring work, mock matches, mic work, promos, and then drive 4 hours back to get some sleep before work.
Oh my God.
Um, he really continued my education, and he took me all around.
hmm
Um, I gave him 100%, and he rewarded me greatly. I mean, I earned it. I didn't just walk into it.
Right.
Um, but he was huge. He's still huge. Kayfabe is the number one. If you went and worked for him, and you didn't practice kayfabe or believe in kayfabe, you never worked for him again.
Gotcha.
Um, he just. I've had some great matches with him. Um, he's made me a humongous heel, but he also at one time had me a humongous baby.
hmm
Um, I he Mitchell, Indiana. I wrestled the Honky Tonk Man from WWE.
Oh my God. Oh, brother.
Um, took a guitar shot to the head. Got my
Oh,
first bit of color.
oh man.
Um, Bushwhacker Luke.
Yeah.
Been in the locker room. Heath Slater, because of him. Madman Pondo. I became real good friends with him because of just putting in the time and the work. And he's another guy who's a legend and very humble.
Mm-hmm.
I got lucky to be on the road with Pondo for a while, and there was gathering of the Juggalo events that come up that he was like, hey, if you want to be a part of it, I got you back. And West Virginia and all kinds of places. Was very blessed. But Pops took me on the road, Kamala Jr., and I wrestled in Indiana, Illinois, Osceola, Arkansas, Tullahoma, Tennessee, Andrews, North Carolina, Henry County, Ohio. I'll tell you a funny story about Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
We went up there as a group. There was 5 of us: Kamala Jr., his son JT, me, Big John, and I want to say there was one more fellow. But like I said, we were all trained different. Up there in Ohio, they had some fellows. One guy looked like a Wish version of Undertaker. They had about 3 or 4 guys in camouflage pants and cut off T-shirts. 2 guys actually came out to the same entrance music. So the end of the night, they had this big battle royal, and we come in there and we mopped heads with them. Like they was just. But I remember standing in the ring with Big John and JT, and we were standing in the middle of the ring, and we're just looking, and nobody would engage with us.
Really?
They were intimidated by us and how we conducted ourselves, how we could wrestle, and how we were trained. So they wouldn't even come to us. We just started grabbing people, holding them, and chopping the heck out of them. We probably threw 300 chops apiece on them guys.
Damn.
Because they wouldn't do nothing. They were scared to wrestle with us.
Oh, man.
And we got out of the ring, and next thing you know, the booker's gone. We ended up not even getting paid because I guess he shagged ass. So we left there, went and found a Waffle House, and had a good old time, and it was something. But yeah, Illinois. I've been to Illinois and Evansville and Vincennes, and I got to give a lot of props to Johnny Richards, Master Rich, RFW, New Focus. I've been in some great matches there. Like I said, with Barry Frambro and Bobo Brazil Jr. and Rob Conway and Flash Flanagan, and
oh, wow,
man. I'm still waiting on my shot with Mickey Midas. For some reason, he keeps eluding me. I love to work that kid. That's another guy I just absolutely think the world of. I wish him nothing but success because he earns every bit of it. He's a great father, great friend, wrestler.
Yes, sir.
I was so proud to see him on AEW. I recorded it on my phone while I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm a fanboy of his, I guess. But just a phenomenal feller. And, like I said, I love the wrestling business. I love Don. I love the independent wrestling circuit. And it's been great.
Oh, man.
I've met some great people. Tracy Smothers, Joey Grunge. Like, it's just unbelievable in the time I've been wrestling, the people I've been in the ring with, shared the ring with. I shout out to my tag team partner. He's me and him, we've been all over winning titles, and Jeffersonville, and I wrestled up there, and Canadian Kid, he's a little scrawny feller, but you talk about somebody who could chain wrestle and high fly, and you put me and him together, and you can go to my TikTok and check out some highlight pages and of me and him together, and multiple tag team champions all around Indiana and Evansville, Indiana, and Vincennes, but it all comes back to Pops gave us a shot. He put us together one night. He said, "You two both are going to be Canadians," and we took it and ran with it, man. And we became like brothers, and going to his kids' birthday parties, and it's just there's nothing better than relationships, and after a show, going to Denny's and eating breakfast, everybody together and the fellowship. And like I said, man, people looking from the outside in, they don't understand the bond and the brotherhood that wrestling has.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best thing I've ever got out of wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, I've realized that firsthand, just being involved with you guys, for the last several months. I mean, even though I'm not a wrestler, I'm just a commentator, and
You're not a
and
wrestler yet.
yet, yet, God willing, I will be, because I mean that was a dream of mine, you know.
I know you're waiting until I get out of there. I know.
Well, man, well, I know what'll happen. You'll wind up squashing me in 5 seconds. I'd be no match for you, man.
Now, there's no guarantee in that.
Well, they say it's not the size of the dog; it's the fight of the dog, right?
I don't. So they say that.
They say that. Now, well, we'll see if that's actually true or not, I guess. But, but no, if I ever,
I can't wait to see you in the ring. I think you'll do good, and it'll be my honor to get to wrestle you if we ever get to that point. And you just got to take care of me. I'm older now.
well, yes, sir. But I actually want to say it would be an honor to be able to step in the ring with you, sir. And I mean, it's an honor to be able to step in the ring with anybody from NAW. It'd be an honor, and heck, it's an honor to be in the ring with those trainees and stuff, and to learn about the business and everything. So for me, it's a huge
It
honor.
definitely is.
But
And I mean, if I could give any advice, maybe nobody wants to hear it or none, but listen to these old guys.
right.
Treat them with respect. Shake their hand. Look them in the eyes. Mouth shut, ears open.
So back in the day I did a training with old school wrestling over in the Callaway County area. Um, this they knew that I knew about making sure to shake hands and how to shake hands and with everybody, and they also I was also taught to you know respect, listen to the veterans, keep your mouth shut. And plus, I've learned that through all these shoot interviews that I've watched on YouTube over the years and everything as well. So, I had a little bit of, just a tiny bit of knowledge, just a tidbit, because the one thing I definitely don't want to do is disrespect this business, let alone disrespect any of you all, you know. Um,
Right.
but
But and Justin, I listened to the podcast of him, and he said something that really resonated. Um, there's a lot of stuff that goes on nowadays, locker rooms, uh, during matches, that you wouldn't have got away with years ago.
right,
There were some assholes back in the day. They would intentionally, shoot on the new guys, stretch the new guys, um, maybe it was a rite of passage. Maybe some dudes were just dicks,
right,
but they would get weeded out. But some guys that really old school fellas, they wanted to see what you're made of.
right.
They took this business that nobody being an independent wrestler is hard.
Hmm.
You're self financed. You're not making a lot of money. If you do it for the money, you're a fool.
Right,
Um, but a lot of these guys, that was their life. They've missed holidays, birthdays, been on the road, and chasing that dream. And you come in there like you're hot shit, and they're gonna put you in your place. You might not be coming back.
right.
And there's a couple guys in all of it, former NAW guys,
Mhm.
that they had all the talent in the world, but they, one way or another, they lost some respect, or they got too big for their britches, or something happened. They're no longer there. But it NAW keeps it old school, man. Every place I've ever wrestled, I've been very fortunate. Um, every time I've stepped in the locker room, I've been well received. I've showed nothing but respect. I've got respect back. I've always been invited everywhere I've ever wrestled, from North Carolina to Arkansas. I've always been invited back.
Hmm.
Some places I didn't want to go back because is their promotions were kind of sketchy, but
Sure.
and but sometimes you get the hot dog and a handshake after driving 4 hours, and it's just like, all right, well, I'm taking something with me, you
Right.
know, but um, it's out there, but as many bad promotions. There's 10 times good promotions,
Right.
and there's bad guys out there, but then there's guys like JC and Justin and Viper and Gator and just these guys, and I mean, it's it truly needs to be saved
Yeah.
to preserve everything I've talked about with the old school, the family, the kayfabe, the, the excitement for the kids. The kids make it really fun.
Oh, absolutely. Them kids
Um,
really get into it.
I mean, I like when I did my heel run with JC, man, I had these kids that used to adore me, and
Yeah.
now they're cussing me and they're kids, and it's like they're telling me they hate me and all stuff, and it's very hard. Um, it's very hard on you when you go from being cheered to now these kids want to spit on you, and it's like I didn't do nothing to you,
Right.
and
Right.
but of course if you want to get enemies, harm one hair on JC's head, and you're a super bad guy.
Or if you're a loudmouth commentator, calls him a flash in the pan, he's the past, he's not definitely not the future, and make all sorts.
I heard that one show you said JC Flash in a pan,
Yes, sir.
and I just had to giggle. That was good. Like, I mean, I give you props. That was good.
I mean that just
I don't know if I would say it to his face.
well, no, I would only say it if he's handcuffed to a cage. So that'd be the only way I would ever say it to his face. So because I'm definitely not a tough guy. I know he'd kick my ass in a heartbeat. So
He'd give you everything you want, bud. I tell you,
yes, sir.
he might be little, but back to what we were talking about earlier, guys little. I can't. I keep. We've lost some great guys since I've been there. Like I was telling you about Little Shorty.
Hmm.
Um, I actually talked to him on the phone 2 nights before he passed away. I missed a call from him the night before he passed away, and that would hurt. That dude was a high school friend, got me, pointed me in the right direction, introduced me to some great old school guys, armory guys, Nashville Armory guys, and Kenny Cottons and stuff like that, and tragic. He had his demons, but yeah, he was a great guy. He'd give you shirt off his back, even though it wouldn't fit because he wore a small child size. But um, he had the biggest personality anybody you'd ever meet.
Right.
So I mean, you know, unfortunately, he leaves behind a family and a wife and stuff, and it sucks. And Tracy Smothers passing away. Like, I can't tell you one person that had bad things to say about Tracy.
Yeah.
Um, that dude was a hoot, man. The first time I ever met Tracy, he made me go outside. He left a spit cup on the dumpster
Hmm.
in Evansville, and he made me go all the way outside, get his spit cup, so he'd come back and take a piss in it and throw it
Oh
away.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
man, that's priceless.
but you got great guys up at Evansville. You got T-Bolt and you know Master Rich and guys like that. Like, I mean, this area, tri-state area, you got top talents, and it's a good place to be in wrestling. This is a hotbed, and I'd love to see it go for many many years.
Yes, sir. I would definitely love that too. So my first armory show I went to was actually in Hopkinsville. It was back in '98. This was right after WrestleMania 14, and my my stepdad told me he was taking me to a wrestling show because I thought, oh dang, we're gonna go to another one because back in the fall of '97, he took me to the very last Clash of the Champions, which
Oh
uh,
wow.
I did an episode on that. It was actually the one right before the one I did with Justin Style, and yeah, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be another one. He's like, and he's very country with the way he talks, but he said, no, it's not going to be WCW or WWF. It's over here at the Armory and all that. And I let me think. It wasn't a very big crowd, probably about a typical size crowd for the NAW events. And I'm I don't know which promotion it was, but I want to say it was NWA affiliated. But don't quote me on that. But Sir Mo was taking the ticket, was taking the money for the tickets, and I hadn't seen him in WWF in years. And keep in mind, I'm 12 years old at this time, so I just remember him with King Mabel, and then before that, when they were part of Men on a Mission. And I said,
Right.
"Where's King Mabel?" He just kind of looked down, just kind of chuckled, and he never said anything, so left it at that. And then through the doors, I see Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express peek in, and then of course, I just basically popped. I said, "I saw you on TV on Monday," and he just kind of stared at me a little bit and all that. And and then God, we were in line for it felt like a damn eternity. And there was one person in line that was just pitching a fit and stuff, and one of the security guards had like a whole wad of chewing tobacco in his mouth and stuff and all that, and told him to hold his potatoes. And then I think they wound up having him talk to Sir Mo at one point, and then so they finally let us in, and let me think. I don't remember everybody that was there, but before the show started, I got my picture taken with the Rock and Roll Express. So that was an amazing experience. And I told Justin Style, I wish I knew where that Polaroid picture went to, because I mean, it just disappeared. Um, they were there. They wrestled that tag team, the Pit Bulls, and I actually got
Oh
my.
wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I saw these guys. I'm like, good God
Well, you're
Almighty.
showing. I think you're showing our age here. I
Good.
think a lot of the young people are just shut off the podcast. Who are these two old guys?
Oh, hellfire! You know what? You know what you know what that if they shut it off, it's their loss, man. I mean, there's so much great history with this business, but yeah, the Pit Bulls, and I saw them. I'm like, good God, these guys are monsters. And hell,
Imagine seeing the original Moondoggies, man. Like,
mm, oh man,
and like I said, Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantell. And people didn't know Dutch Mantell until he came out with that We the People thing in WWE. But
right.
I know that dude when he used to come down to Massville to Gator McAllister's house and go in that training garage and make you grab the ring post and get on your toes and go up and down on your toes 300, 400 times. You didn't stop either.
Oh damn.
Um, that dude was a man. He was a beast.
Yeah. Um.
But you talk about these guys, these pitchers, and like I thank God for cell phones.
Hell
And
yeah.
there's always been like this. There's always been like this stigma in wrestling. Don't be a mark. Don't take pictures and ask for autographs. I say screw that, dude. We've lost some great guys, like I said earlier, and I got a lot of pictures with them. Um, it's because I've been able to have a the cell phones have been a great addition. Um, but I got photo albums of pictures, and like one of my favorite ones is I was in French Lick, Indiana. We were doing a show up there for their Pumpkin Fest,
Mhm.
and Jimmy Hart had came in,
Oh man.
and they were setting the ring up and everything, and Jimmy Hart was standing there, and he said, "Hey, big guy," and I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Go to football with me." Me and Jimmy Hart sitting in the gym there for 30 minutes, throwing a football back and forth like we've known each other forever, just talking about different things, and just see, I see the side of him. I mean, this guy grew up watching TV. He's running around with Hogan and all these people, and he still got the megaphone, and he's probably in his 70s,
Yeah.
but this man is still got more energy than half the young people I know.
Oh man.
He gets to talking in that megaphone. You don't understand the word he's saying until he says "baby." He's a baby after everything, baby. That's the only thing you can make out. But get pictures. Like I've got pictures, guys. I mentioned the Honky Tonk Man. Like I loved him growing up. I was a huge Elvis fan.
Right.
So when Honky Tonk Man was wrestling, dude, I was gravitated to him.
Mm-hmm.
So now you take that, and then you show up at the Emerson Arena down there in Mitchell, Indiana, and Pops comes up to you and says, "Hey man, you're gonna work Honky tonight. We got him coming in."
Oh man.
Man, I was scared.
Sure.
Like I was like, you, seriously? He could have gave it to anybody, his own son, all that. But he was like, you're doing Honky tonight, and I remember he was like, he got his own little dressing room down there on the stage, and I walked in, introduced myself, and of course he introduced himself as Wayne, and man, I tell you what, great guy. He's like, he's like, what do you want to do? I said, sir, in all due respect, I'm following your lead. Like, you tell me what you want to do. And he started, well, don't, he's holding it. Don't twist his arm too much. Don't hit me in the lower back. Stay away from this knee. I was like,
sure.
I'm like writing it down. I'm like, okay, don't kill the legend.
Right.
But you got the ring, man, and he got out there, grabbed that mic, started singing his entrance song, and I mean, you talk about holding the crowd in the palm of your hands. When he went out 1st, and usually the heel goes out first,
right?
But he went out first, and the crowd, like I was scared to go through the curtain. I mean, it was one of the biggest crowds I've ever wrestled in front of, and when I come to that curtain as a heel against Honky Tonk Man, the electricity, it's a feeling you'll never feel unless you actually do it.
Right.
But I mean, I had to pee. I had to pee so bad, all the way to the ring and all the way. I was like, oh no, and everything just goes through your head. You start putting in psychology, and this dude could work with his eyes closed.
Sure.
And you're like, don't mess up, and don't hurt this man. And after the show was over, come back, and I mean, I got a hug, and he shook my hand, told me great job, told me I need to wipe the blood off my forehead.
Right.
Asked me, he's like, did you know the guitar wasn't gimmicked? And I was like, no, sir, I didn't. But we got to auction off the guitar. It was signed by Honky Tonk Man and had a hole in the back of it for my head. So we got to auction off for, I think, $350, $400.
Oh, geez.
To a good cause. Yeah, it was really awesome. And I got a couple good pictures with him in the back. We got to talk a little bit about things, and it was one of those moments that wrestling provided me that I'll never forget. And
Go ahead.
It's definitely one of the keepers in the scrapbook.
Oh, definitely, man, buddy. I'll tell you, if I ever had the luxury of sharing a ring with the Honky Tonk Man, I'd probably shit my pants. I'm not gonna lie, because
I'm gonna tell you now. You walk through that curtain and you're looking at WWE Hall of Famer Honky Tonk Man, longest reigning, greatest IC champ in the world.
Hell yes.
And he's watching you walk down that auditorium, and I'm telling you now, that was my WrestleMania moment, brother.
Oh, God.
I'm like, yes, sir.
Brother, I can only imagine. And honestly, I'm glad they finally inducted him into the Hall of Fame. I really feel like he should have been inducted way before then, but they finally got him in there,
I got to see his ring. Yeah, he did have his ring on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's humongous.
Oh,
TV does it no justice.
Jeez, man.
He had the original IC belt with him.
Okay.
He has a large array of gimmicks, pictures, and just 56. I mean, so many years of just wrestling history, memorabilia, and stuff, and So I was going to ask you. You mentioned something in the Justin Styles podcast with him. It seems like you know the difference between a worker and a hooker, a shooter.
Well, just a little bit, just a little bit of knowledge. I'd heard about Billy Robinson. I'd heard of him through Jesse Ventura's not podcast, a shoot interview that he did with RF Video back in 2012. And whenever I started kind of went going on a rabbit hole about the AWA, I'd heard a little bit more about Billy Robinson, and he had said, and they had said he was a hooker. You know, he knew like body parts to hook and stuff, and possibly break and this, that, and the other. And
Oh yeah.
and then shooter. You know, I mentioned Iron Sheik because I knew he was an amateur wrestler, just like the late Vern Gagne as well, and many other wrestlers that are no longer with us and all that. But not, I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge on the hookers. But I'd heard the late Billy Robinson was a hooker. So
Well, I give you a little insight on that. You know, the term hooker, shooter, like these are legit tough guys.
right,
Like, if you want to pick a fight, these are not the guys to pick a fight with.
right,
If you think you're going to be a wise ass and throw a receipt, these are not the guys to throw a receipt with. These are legit guys, legit tough guys. They can hurt you. I've actually got to wrestle two super legit hookers that were probably the toughest nails guys. One, Bobo Brazil Jr. I've took some chops from that guy. It nearly just stopped my heart.
oh God, man,
This dude has huge leathery hands and probably one of the best chops in the business. When I sat down next to him before the match, and he's like, you know my gimmick. You know what's going to happen. Yes, sir. Don't you dare block it. Don't you dare make me look bad. I took three of them. He hit me with the first one, fed to the corner, took a second one. I said, well, it's now or never. So I fed to the third one. I told him, let's do it again. By this time, I'm holding on to the ropes so I don't block it because I'm on fire.
right,
Got me with the third one, fed to the fourth corner, and I guess he was like, all right, this kid's all right. He said, you're good. And he said, he started working my head. But I've always wondered if I could have took the fourth one. Like, but after the match, I gained his respect. I didn't block it. Bobo likes to do a Japanese arm drag, and I don't understand it. It don't really fit the man, but he does a great Japanese arm drag. And he'll ask you, you know how to do Japanese arm drag? Yes, sir. Don't mess it up. And what arm are you coming in on? He's got his gimmick, he's got his sticks, and like I said, he's a legend. You want to make him look good. So the other guy, I absolutely love to death. I wish I got to spend more time with him. Vic the Bruiser.
oh God,
Vic, I guess he kind of retired. But you talk about another guy that would intimidate the piss out of you. Just knowing you were wrestling him, it was like, oh shit. Like you were in for a night with either one of them guys.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's fun. It's something that can't be replaced by anything, man. It's the best feeling in the world.
No, I agree. I mean, even after those training sessions I've been in, or whenever I was able to the night of the Super Show, when I was able to get in the ring and learn a couple moves and stuff and all that. I mean, yeah, the training sessions, yeah, you wake up sore and all that, but you know what? It made it all worth it, because you gain valuable knowledge, and and it's just getting you ready for whenever it's that time to get into the ring. And yeah, I mean, it's physically demanding, but oh God,
Have you met Viper?
I have not met Viper. I've heard a lot about him. Now,
Viper's a legit tough guy.
I've heard that.
Being around here and stuff. I if you want, I'd tell you a funny story about Viper.
Right ahead, buddy.
We were doing a training session in that building, and Viper hadn't wrestled in a long time.
Okay.
He was training, but the fever got to him. The more and more he was there, the more and more he was, he would slowly integrate himself back into the ring, and he'd work a little bit more and more, a little more and more, and next thing you know, he broke out the famous 25-year-old snakeskin boots, and then you're like, all right, this guy's legit about to get back in the ring. So we were doing a training seminar thing, and I was standing there, and next time, boom, like, I mean, lights out. I don't know if you've ever been knocked out.
No, sir.
But I seen a flash of light, looked up, seen the ceiling. It was like, where the hell am I?
Oh, wow.
They're like, Viper's standing there. He's like, oh, my bad, dude. I was like, what the hell just happened? He's like, I was still seeing if I can do a jumping, spinning heel kick.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I say you can. They knocked me sleep. I was, man, yeah, like, he just was trying to prove to himself he could still do it. And Viper has one of the best chops in independent wrestling. He can rattle your bones from the inside.
Really?
Yeah. He's a great guy. Great guy, though.
Yeah, Josh and Derek have said that about him, too, that he's a really great guy. But you did mention earlier about Gator. I did meet him just very briefly. I think it was at the October show where they had all the matches for the golden ticket qualifier matches and stuff.
Yeah.
Just had a brief interaction with him, but he seemed like a really nice guy, very respectful and stuff. But that's about the only.
Dude, when I first met Gator, and I don't know if you noticed this by being around him. When I first met him, Gator was built like a brick shit house.
Yeah.
And he had this long, dark hair. And I mean, this dude legit had like a 5-foot alligator.
I've heard about
live damn alligator.
Too. Yeah, I've heard of that.
And but he was the first wrestler I was ever scared of.
Really?
If you look at it, find pictures of him. His stare, his eyes, and he's got that hair down inside. He is completely a terrifying individual. Great guy.
Yeah.
But when it's time to work, this dude scared the piss out of me. And he has this Gator bomb that is absolutely probably one of the best power bomb kind of combinations I've ever seen. I mean, you have Kevin Nash, you have all these guys that do these power bombs, but that Gator bomb was something special.
Is there any wrestler you could compare his Gator bomb to?
So his was kind of unique where you would go up. It was almost like a last ride.
Oh, hell.
But at the same time, he came down on his knees. So you went from top to bottom nonstop.
Oh, man.
And it happened so fast, but it was very devastating, especially back in the day then when a lot of the big high impact moves like that, a lot of people didn't do. Right. If you watch wrestling, there used to be a time when a suplex, you'd win a match on a suplex, and you got that big old Gator bomb coming out, and man, I knew some guys that didn't want to take it. Right. Hell no, I ain't taking that.
Damn.
And then you had little guys like Shorty, do it again. He's just a glutton for punishment. And they made us one night training. He had a bunch of the boys in there, and he had little me and Shorty. We done trained, beating the hell out of my forehead was bleeding because they used to make us lock up and put our foreheads together and just work and move. And you would rub your forehead raw.
Oh, man.
And we'd been through that, and ropes, drills, and Gators had one of them old wooden rings. They were hard.
Oh.
They didn't flex, and everything we thought was over. And Gator brings out boxing gloves. He's like, "Well, you two gonna box each other?" Me and little Shorty. Man, and he was beating he couldn't reach my face. But he was tearing my ribs up, and he was bleeding out of his nose, out of his mouth, and never would quit. And I wasn't going to quit in front of all the boys. And man, I went home that night. I think I pissed a gallon of blood, and but the funny thing about it, next day we're ready to go back.
Right.
It's a very weird. It's almost sick, like
Right.
it's almost sick, but it's something. Once it gets in you, man. Oh man.
I don't know if you've listened to. So one of my favorite wrestlers is Ken Patera, and
Okay. Okay.
I've always loved listening to his shoot interviews, and he talked about the training camp over with Vern Gagne in the AWA, and he said the ring was set up in a barn, and
Yes. Yes.
obviously it's not insulated. It's when it gets really cold up there in Minnesota. He also said
About quitting the barn.
he he
And,
also
and Vern Gagne went and got him and said, "You ain't quitting."
that's right. That's right.
There'd be pigeons up there at the top of the barn sitting on you while you were trying to train.
That's exactly what Patera said. Yes, sir. He said there'd be shit in the ring and all that. You'd have to do a shit ton of squats, like you said, in the hundreds. I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the hundreds. You'd have to run, do drills, work in the ring, and he said it was like a 6.
So Kamala Jr. he'd get us all out of the ring, and he'd be like, "Pick a number." He'd just randomly tell training, "Pick a number," and they'd be like, 4. He'd be like, "All right, times that by 100.
Oh,
That's how many Hindu squats we're going to do." Or he'd say, and so then he'd say it again. He said, "Pick another number." So then, you get to be a wise ass. You're like, "Well, I'm gonna pick a real low number,"
right.
and he'd be like 1. He'd be like, "All right, well, 1 times, whatever." He goes, 25 seems right. And you're like, 25. So you used to have to 25 times. You would have to get in the ring. You come off the ropes, hit the ropes, come back. That's 1.
Mm-hmm.
And every 5th time you come back, you hit the bump. By 15, you're dead.
Right.
By 25, you can barely walk.
Shit.
And then you roll out of the ring, and he's like, "All right, another 50 Hindu squats." I mean, I've been in some training sessions with Kamala Jr. And I was like, "Do I really want to do this? Did I really drive this far just to do this?" But when you're done, the feeling of accomplishment, and I've watched guys puke.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're done, that all goes away. And the feeling of accomplishment and brotherhood, and it's man, I'm telling you something, and I hope you get to experience, and I hope you really enjoy it, and don't take it for granted.
Well, I hope I get to experience that too. And no, sir, I definitely will not take it for granted. I'm definitely not. I'm involved in the business because I love the business, and that's it, and I want to contribute, in any way that I can. But no, I will definitely not take it for granted, sir. I give you my word on that. So let me.
So actually, the funniest thing before you get in that, the funniest thing I ever saw is Bedford, Indiana. There was a dude named Daniel Green. He was wrestling. He had a mullet, all that stuff. He's kind of a jobberish kind of guy.
Sure.
Well, Madman Pondo brought down this dude named Duke. Great guy. Big as hell. This dude was like 6'6", 300 and some pounds, like big old boy.
Oh, hell.
And they put him in a match with this Daniel Green dude, right?
Right.
And he whipped him in the turnbuckle and did one of them running splashes like I like to do.
Right.
And the dude shit himself.
Oh, damn.
Yes, literally shit himself in the ring. Had to call the match. Hey, take it home. Got to the back, and the ironic thing was he went from Daniel Green to Daniel Brown really fast.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Fortunately, I've almost peed in the ring because I took a real stiff kick in the bladder, but I've never shit myself, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's good, man. Damn, man. I hear you hear stories all the time about people shitting and stuff in the ring, and most notably was the late Andre the Giant. You hear
man, could you imagine that dude shitting on you?
oh my God. Well, hell, did you hear what Jake the Snake Roberts said? Like he never used a toilet in the hotels. He would shit in the shower,
Yeah, I have to
and
wash it down.
wash it down. Damn, I couldn't fathom that. Those poor cleaning folks. Jeez, that give them a
Oh
pay
my God,
raise.
dude.
Um,
Look, who has a horse in this hotel room? Some advice I can give you
yeah,
while we're on the whole cold brown in the ring. I do not eat before a match.
right.
Um, I have made early in my career. I have made that mistake, and it's a real unsettling feeling when you take a bump and you fart, and you're like, "Was
Yeah.
that a fart?" And I'll tell you a funny story that happened to me. I'll go ahead and admit it in front of everybody listening. I told you about Big John. What was Ohio? Big John. He's a big old bald headed dude. He's a real great guy outside the ring, and he's a chef.
Hmm.
Well, he brought some food. Like he made up this like dip thing and everything, and I was like, all right, well, it's not a full meal, but it was a little spicy.
Okay.
So I ate it and everything. Well, I took a sidewalk slam from him. As soon as I landed, I farted, and he was trying to cover me. And it's very hard not to laugh after you took a sidewalk slam and you're listening. He's trying to cover his head and chuckle because you just farted when you hit the mat. But never shit, just farted.
Oh me. Yeah,
But it was perfect timing too. So I hit the mat.
well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, whenever I go to these training sessions, I barely put any food in my body because I really don't feel like puking it up or sharding on
Well,
myself. You know what I mean?
I tell you, it's not ballet.
Mm.
Accidents happen.
Yeah.
Some people are not the greatest at throwing a kick or a punch. Um, and you catch one in the gut, and you just had burritos about 10 minutes before you started training.
Hmm.
Your body does weird things.
Yeah, and it's funny, dude. So my biological grandfather on my mom's side, he was full-blooded Puerto Rican, and so I've got a little bit of Hispanic, blood in me, and I do like eating. I like going to the Mexican restaurants, and I'm going to quote Gorilla Monsoon. I like that kind of food, but it doesn't like me. You know what I'm saying?
I hear
So,
that.
but uh, no, brother, I was actually going to ask you about Kamala Jr. Now, forgive me for my ignorance. Now, is he related to the late James Harris that portrayed Kamala? Is that his son by chance, or
No comment.
okay? Hey, fair enough.
uh, there is a very uncanny resemblance. Very characteristic like. Um, I cannot confirm or deny. I really don't know.
I
Um,
got you.
I do know they were friends, and he had permission to do the gimmick from the family.
Okay.
But he's also been doing that gimmick years, years, years. I remember seeing him in Providence. They have a coal festival,
Uh huh.
a little carnival that comes, and they used to put on wrestling shows. And I remember seeing him years and years ago. Never thought in a million years I'd wrestle for him or get to beat him up or get bit by him and uh, Samoan drop by him. And I mean, and I will tell you this: the man he's a bigger man. Well, he's not now. He's losing some weight, but for a man his size, and he's very quick, and he's very powerful. He's very deceiving.
Yeah.
You can't take that man for granted. And he knows. I don't know if your father ever told you. I know every trick in the book before you're gonna do it because I've been there.
Right.
That's him. You ain't getting nothing past him in the ring. You ain't getting nothing. Like this man knows every trick whole book in the book. Like you're not gonna pull fast on him.
Yeah.
If you gonna try to do something, he's got a reversal for it. If you think you're gonna reverse something in him, he's got a counter for that. Like the dude's ring IQ is, I mean, unbelievable. But outside the ring, he's a pastor. Um, I actually got to attend the Easter church service that he preached after a wrestling show. Great guy, loving man, very good man. I can't say enough about him. He's another guy in my wrestling career that I hold very, very important. He's right up there with Josh and Derek and all them. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mentioned about Patera being one of my favorites. I haven't asked you who's your who's one of your favorites or your all-time favorite wrestler. If you want to name them all, man, go right ahead.
Man, see, I was always weird growing up. I used to like this cat named Eric Embry.
Okay, I've heard the name.
He was an AWA wrestler. He wore this singlet. It was blue on one side, red on the other with stars. Plain Jane, no knee pads. He was just a worker, man. Complete heel. He was one of probably the best heels. I liked him. Getting into the other generation, like I said, I loved Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
I was a huge Demolition fan.
Oh,
loved
yes.
Demolition.
Yes.
And then in the modern era, I loved Triple H. Like he was the everything, man. He was, I mean, on the mic, the cerebral assassin. His entrances were just awesome and built like a monster and could wrestle anything and now the whole terrorizing and all that crap and the Hunter Hearst Helmsley gimmick, that I wasn't a big fan of that. But when he was the game and Triple H stuff, I mean that was, man, dude, like I was just captivated by him and now what he's doing, actually the direction he's taking WWE and stuff, he's a phenomenal job. Netflix, all that stuff, like they're on top of the world, man. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
I had heard this many years ago, but I had heard he was a real big fan of the territories. Which, I mean, when he'd come into WCW. Now I had heard that, but I've never seen an interview or read anything where that was even validated. But I'd heard that. So, but I don't know if maybe you had heard. Well, I was just kind of curious if maybe you'd heard.
Oh
that
no,
as well.
Unfortunately, I'm not privy to that information. I've never really got to hang out with the Triple H though. So, I mean, it'd be pretty cool if I did. I'd have a lot of questions.
Sure.
Like I said, I got to spend a lot of quality time with Jimmy Hart. And I think I talked more. He's a mouth of the South, but I think I talked his ear off. I just wanted to know everything. I picked that man's brain. I asked him questions. I mean, I asked him questions stuff he probably couldn't even remember. Like
right.
I'm talking from USWA days when, polyester suits and, it just, I was like, when Jerry Lawler did this to you and, blah, 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 he's like, whoo, boy, that was a long time ago, but, I love the history of wrestling and the backstories as probably much as I do is actually wrestling. So,
right.
It was to be that close to these guys and stuff, man. Like I have no regrets at all.
That's awesome, man. So Demolition is actually my favorite tag team, and
dude, they were just something, man. Like,
oh God, yeah.
I kind of stopped liking them when they introduced like the third member, Crush, but. Yeah.
Well, when I found out when I heard about the backstory with why that happened, it made sense at that point. But
it did make sense. It's a passing of the torch to keep it going. I mean, it happens every promotion, and
right.
But it wasn't the same. Axe and Smash were the original. I remember I had the little wrestling figures when they first came out.
Oh, yeah.
They they didn't move. They were just in a pose. But I mean, I had the rings, the toys. Man, I had wrestling buddy stuffed pillows. I had a big old rubber Hulk Hogan, and I mean, I'll always be a Hulk Hogan fan. It's something about that song. I have it on my playlist. When that Rick Derringer song comes on, man, it just gives me chills.
Right.
I mean, it's corny, but that Real American song, just man, that you know,
Oh, it's an awesome song. But and Derringer, he sang Demolition's theme as well, and
yeah,
uh,
he did a lot of wrestling themes back in the day.
yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna sound like a mark here, but I mean, hell, I've got Demolition's theme saved on kind of saved on my YouTube account and all that. And sometimes when I'm walking into the gym or if I'm walking out to the gym, I'll be playing that in my earbuds and stuff and all that. I've just always loved that song, man.
Dude, I do the same thing with the game's theme,
Oh
Triple H's theme.
yeah, yeah.
It's Motorhead too, so I mean
Oh
you can't
hell
really
yeah.
go wrong.
No, you cannot go wrong with Motorhead. I like some of their stuff, but and I've talked with Roxo, because because I was complimenting his vest. I said it kind of reminded me of Demolition's vest just a little bit, but I also liked all the excuse me, all the logos and stuff of all the different bands and whatnot that he had.
Oh yeah,
I thought that
Roxo
was
is
pretty
a
awesome.
metalhead,
Yeah.
bud, and he knows his music and stuff. But speaking of Roxo, him and Kendrick's new look and their tag team, that's a pretty hot tag team, man. Like they looked really good last show together.
Yeah, I'd heard that, and I saw the pictures that were posted for the Gnaw page, and I was like, oh yeah, that I was like, that's gonna work really really good.
I mean, their look, they matched. Like they legit put on a great tag team match. I was very impressed. They two guys that fit good together as both of them. Like, I mean, they're both great, phenomenal wrestlers and, you know, mentors and stuff. Roxo, he's just a blast to be in the ring with. You guys, I mean, you got to be careful to not laugh when you're in the ring with him because everything he does is just, balls to the wall, and he sells like none other. Like he's just phenomenal.
Yeah, um,
And Kendrick, he's a bulldog, man. Like
yeah,
I haven't got to wrestle Kendrick yet.
uh huh,
I want to. I definitely want to do that, but I just say I think. I mean, I wouldn't look forward to it.
yeah,
He's a tough. He's a tough boy or a tough man.
yeah. He was so at the July show, I'd showed up, early to meet everybody and stuff, and ask them what not to say. You know what I'm saying? Out of respect for them and whatnot. And he was actually the first one. I was actually wearing my James Kendrick shirt that I'd purchased the previous month, and
Yeah, I seen you marking out.
I was trying to play up the get my heel commentator gimmick, but uh,
Outlaw. You gotta get one of them outlaw shirts.
well, if y'all got the shirts, by God, I will sport them. Hell, I've been waiting one from Alexander Cage for months. It was
You don't want one. You don't want one of those.
he, but yeah,
Alexander Cage is not a real champion. He never beat me for the title.
well, I was there
I
when
was forced to give the title up due to injury.
yes, I remember that. I was there. That was actually my first night
I,
commentating.
I feel like he slid into my spot, and there's going to be a time when I do come back that uh, I owe him one. I don't forget.
Well, whenever you do come back, do you plan on going after Sexy Sid and challenging him for the NAW Heavyweight Championship?
Well, uh, to be honest, um, one that's going to be up to booking. I I beat Sexy Sid before. I don't think it'd be hard to do it again. He's crafty. I give him that. He'll find a way to win. Um, right now, Sexy Sid ain't on my radar. I got something brewing that I think that everybody will like.
Okay.
There's been talks between some people. I have a goal in mind. Something I want to do with somebody. I'm not going to try to reveal too much.
Oh,
Then
that's
people
fine.
might just have to show up and watch.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
yeah, there's other title or titles that I want to go for.
I respect that. If you don't mind me asking, you mentioned your injury because I'd heard you were dealing with injury at that time. What exactly happened? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, so like I said earlier with the battles with JC Flash, um, they were hard
Yeah.
on both of. Like you said, his fingers breaking. Um, hit him with a bat. I think we both had concussions. Um, I worked a shoot job, and my neck is not as strong as it used to be.
Okay.
Um, there's a little bit of degenerative neck disease going on where the bones deteriorate and chip off and get stuck. And um, in our last match, I don't know if you got to catch that one. It was just slobber knocker.
Yeah.
Um, we threw everything at each other. Uh, I came out on top. I'll let everybody know that.
Right.
Maybe not the best way, but I refused to lose to him at that time. But the next day, I felt really weird with my arms tingling and stuff like that. Got a couple X-rays. Had some issues going on my neck. Doctor didn't think it was a good idea to wrestle anymore. Um, but hell, what do they know? They just got degrees.
Right.
Um, so
Well.
it was kind of a decision at that time. Hey, it might be better to. It only took one more match with JC like that to. It could. I mean, we beat the hell out of each other. So I mean,
Yeah.
it takes time off, try to heal, try to get released, see what happens. Still going, still trying to see things. I'm still there. I'm still catching, shows at the ringside and still. I mean, you never know.
Well.
March 8th's coming up. You never know what might happen then.
Never know, man. Um. But well, I hated to see that you had to, retire and forfeit the belt and stuff. But biggest thing is, boss, is you got to take care of yourself first, because you got to be healthy to even be able to compete, and if you can't compete, or if you're at the risk of possibly doing more damage to yourself, that could be uh what's the right word? Debilitating, I guess would be the right word.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I told JC in the beginning, because like I said, I did come back a little later in life, and JC's not no spring chicken. Derek's not no spring chicken, even though Derek's the baby out of the bunch. Um, hell, I mean, Roxo's no spring chicken. Like, wrestling takes a toll on your body.
Yeah.
No matter what people think, oh, this and that. No, every time you hit that mat, it's real.
Yeah.
Every time, it's not bad. Like I said, it's not ballet. You do get hit. You do get touched. Like it's, like I love when the people say, "Oh, this is fake." All right, let me drop you on your damn back from
Oh.
like 10
Oh
feet
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Like, um, like I said with Viper, let me go ahead and spin heel roundhouse kick you in the head, and you just see a big flash of light and not know what happened.
Right.
Um, I would love somebody every time somebody said it's fake that you could just take them in the ring for 10 minutes.
Yep.
I hear somebody say it's fake. I want to punch them in the face. It's like, that feel fake? But, you know, like I said earlier, there comes a time when your health, and the older you get, it's not as easy. And I had told Josh, when we was talking, I was like, I'll do this as long as I can, but when I can't perform in the ring with the guy out of respect, if I can't give him everything, and I can't give the fans and the crowd everything, then I don't want to do it.
Sure.
You know, that, like I said, there's life after wrestling, training, commentary, music. I mean, I would never leave the wrestling promotion, but, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, everybody's time runs out sometime. You know, you can't be there forever. I'm blessed for everything I've been, everything I've gotten, I've worked for, and, you know, opportunities I've had. It's been one hell of a ride. You know, it ain't over yet, but
No, no, not by a long shot. I mean, honestly, I think you and I think Josh and Derek, I think y'all have got, and Roxo included, I think all y'all have got still plenty of time left in the tank. Now, I did tell Derek, um, because it was actually after that first show that I went to, and all of a sudden I started to get bit by the bug a bit, well, just a little bit, you know, and I was like, oh man, I'm like, part of me really wants to try, you know, go for it. Part of me's like, man, I better not, cause I've got let's see, so about 2 years ago, I found out I've got hard cartilage missing in my right knee. Hell, I went 6 months wearing a freaking compression brace and stuff because it hurt to walk. You know what I mean? And
oh yeah,
so then I finally started taking some herbal supplements, and it's really helped me out. And
it ain't the green kind of herb supplement, is
oh, no, sir, no, sir. It's not the devil's. It's not the devil's lettuce.
it?
You know, I've never done drugs,
That's good.
never
That's
done
good.
anything. Well, you know, if my
I
back,
will say that is one good thing about wrestling now. A lot of the shenanigans and drug usage, I have seen way less of it than there ever was,
yeah,
which is good because, you know, drugs ain't good for anything. I don't want to put my life and my health in the hands of somebody who's inebriated, and you know, that obviously that was a joke. I think you're a fine young man, and I would never accuse you of being a pothead, but
well,
you know,
well,
to each is his own.
yes, sir. And I appreciate you telling me that, sir. That really means a lot. But it was right before the second show I commentated, which this would have been like beginning of September. I was having some really, which I've had low back pains and stuff for over a decade, which that's why I started going to a chiropractor, you know, get adjusted and stuff, and it's really helped. But I found out I've got one of my lower discs. It's about 50. He said it was roughly about 15-20% smaller than what it should be, and he had also said that I had bone spurs, or he saw bone spurs on the X-ray, and you know, and I've had issues with my left shoulder and stuff. Sometimes I, and these have all been because of poor technique with working out and stuff and all that. You know,
Right, right.
so folks, folks that are listening, if you work out, technique is everything. You know, if you can throw weight up, that's great, but if you wind up hurting yourself because of poor technique, it's just going to hurt you in the long run.
Well,
But
I'll tell you something a little weird, and you can ask your previous or future guests. You get in the ring, and it's very athletic. Um, you're doing things. You're stretching a lot. Um, a lot of your aches and pains will kind of go away. You'll develop new aches and pains.
right,
Um, after I started, you know, my lower back, and I had a little bit of sciatica and stuff. I'd take 2 or 3 bumps, and my back would feel better. Like it was like the bumps were, like you say, going and getting adjusted. The taking the flat back bumps, it will stop my back from hurting. You
really,
know, yeah, I had a shoulder that was, you know, like it felt like it would catch or something, like rotator cuff stuff.
right,
You know, getting into training, doing hip tosses, arm drags, stuff like that. And like, hell, my arm don't hurt no more. My shoulder don't hurt no more. You know, it's really weird, but you know, they say every time you hit the mat, it's like having a car crash at 25 miles an hour.
yeah,
So, I mean, I'm not no physician or nothing, but like if you know something's out of line and you maybe bam and line it back up. I mean, you know, it is, but you know, I'm not saying just go out there and, try to beat your body to death to make it feel better, because it might not work. But, you talking about you getting the bug, man. If you got the bug at all, satisfy it, man. Try it. Go all out. That's the only way you're going to know.
Right.
You're going to know if you can do it. You're going to know if you can't do it. You're really going to find out how bad you want it.
Right.
But like I said earlier, just because you're not in the ring, don't mean you ain't you ain't into the biz. You ain't. There's a lot more important. Just being a wrestler is one part of it. You're a great commentary guy. You play-by-play guy. You get your little Jesse Ventura voice going when you get excited. There's room for everybody.
Right. And and kind of going on, you mentioned about not having any regrets, and I mean, folks, to go on what Coy just said, you'll never know unless you try. And
the biggest regret I would have is if I didn't just say, I'm going to do this. I threw out age. I threw out aches and pains. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give 110%, because you do get out of it what you put in it.
Right.
And like I said, the only regret I have is if I didn't do this journey, because it's been such a blessed journey. And I'm very thankful to the guys that's got me there and took the time. And, I'll cherish it forever.
Yeah. And, this is, and I've put over the NAW promotion in other episodes, but yeah, and even on TikTok posts, advertising the videos and to plug the GoFundMe account for the future training facility. But I've mentioned that that this promotion is just a great group of guys, and they're not only just a great group of guys. They're they're your brothers, but they're also good mentors as well. And
These guys put in tons of money, and we're not talking about money made. We're talking personal money.
Oh yeah.
They're paying. If the gate don't go good, these dudes come out of their pockets and pay. You don't have to worry about getting stiffed at all.
Yeah.
These guys are buying. The new guardrails, the new turnbuckles, the new mat, new crash pads. Like, these guys have put their heart and soul, time, money, sweat in it. And if you appreciate that and give them everything you got, all that they put into it, it'd be one of the best things you've ever done.
Absolutely.
And, at my age, I get in the ring, my old lady still kind of thinks I'm sexy.
And that's all. Hey, man, that makes it all worth it, right?
Yes, it does.
But yeah, hell, it'd be really nice if I had me a good woman that was supportive as well and stuff. But unfortunately, with this, yeah, this is actually my second divorce that I'm going through, and it's
Damn, Rick Rude.
What I'd like to have right now. I swear that.
You fat, sweaty, out of shape, overweight warthogs. Keep the noise down while a real man removes his robe.
I swear that, man. He was a hell.
Hey, no Diddy on this.
Mm-hmm.
But that dude probably had the most amazing physique. Like, the size of that dude's waist, the ripples and that dude was built, man.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Push than he ever got.
Yeah, man. He was in great shape when he was working for Vince, but man, when he went to WCW, I mean, you could definitely see the difference. I mean, he was just.
Oh well, he done had neck surgeries and heart attack. Like, I mean, he was in bad shape at WCW.
Yeah.
But I'm talking when he had his fuse with Jake the Snake and Jake's wife, and.
Yeah.
When he put his wife's face on his tights.
I remember that.
And the airbrush tights with Ultimate Warrior on it when they had their Intercontinental Championship feud. And, like, the dude was way underrated, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've always been a fan of the heels, to be honest. It's sounding that way.
And well, you know what? I mean, I mentioned Patera earlier. I mean, he spent most of his career as a heel. I know
Oh yeah.
Vince tried to bring
Hey,
him
he
in.
was a tough guy.
Oh God, yeah. Um, you know, and that's a guy I feel like should be in the Hall of Fame as well. But just like I feel Demolition should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Now, I don't know why Demolition ain't in the Hall of Fame yet. That is blows my mind.
um, so
Now,
this is
Ted
just a theory.
with B. Brian Blair,
Do what now?
did Ken Patera, did he tag with B. Brian Blair or something like that?
Uh, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell teamed with Brian Blair. Patera, he teamed up with John Studd when they had that feud
Yes.
with
Okay.
Andre.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were the ones that actually caused the Giant to have that short hairstyle because he had that real thick head of hair. And according to Patera, Andre walked up to him and said, "Hey, boss, how about a haircut?" You know, and that feud was actually right before he got sent to prison, if my memory serves me right. And
Oh wow.
and it's crazy because when he got arrested initially back, because of the alleged McDonald's incident, he was working for Gagne still at the time, and
The McDonald's incident.
do what now?
It just shows you, as of the famous McDonald's incident, it just shows you, no matter where you're at, if you're a wrestler, something is bound to pop off at any time.
Oh man,
There's guys out there that just want to, oh, you're a wrestler, and then they just want to test you, man.
sure.
You know that firsthand there with your buddy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have not seen him since then. I have not bumped into him since that happened. So, but
Yeah.
anyways,
Tell him if you do bump into him, come back, enjoy the shows, bring his children. It's all water under the bridge.
yeah.
I hope to see him at the next show.
Well, if I see him, I'll be sure to pass. Be sure to pass that along to him.
We don't want nobody. We want to fill that gym. That's the goal, is to fill that gym and have people, when they leave that place, can't wait to come back. I
Absolutely.
wish we ran twice a month. To be honest with you, it's hard. You got the racetrack right there, and then, they updated the bowling alley and
Yeah.
the Mar Park, and now you got the. I mean, everything. There's a lot to do in Madisonville,
Yes, sir.
and you know, I, Nebo has been really great. I would like to move Null, and I wish we could get the Armory again.
Yeah.
Just so we could be more center in the area. You know, uh, maybe get more people out that way. But I'd love to pack that gym every month.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
And we've had some good crowds though. We've had a couple crowds. I walked out that curtain and been like, "Holy crap!"
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
who are these people?
Yeah. Exactly, man. The June my first show, it was packed in there. Whenever I met you, and then the Super Show back in December. I mean, it was packed, and I
Well, I tell you how smart JC is and how great these fans are. Um, when we had I'll say it was in December when he had the memorial for him and Randall.
yeah.
And I did what I did to him. We were off for like 8 months.
Yeah.
The first show back, it had made such an impact. That gym was packed with more people than I'd ever seen, and they remembered,
Oh yeah.
and they were waiting for JC to come back on me. Like, I thought that was just a testament of how great the promotion is and how great those fans are.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Those. I mean, heck, without those fans, we wouldn't have Naw. And
That's right.
and and to any of the Naw fans that may be listening to the episodes, we greatly appreciate you all coming to these shows and supporting us. I mean, we couldn't do it without you all. So, even though y'all may hate my guts because I bash your heroes and whatnot, but I'm just doing my job. So, but with that being
I say nothing personal, it's just business.
nothing personal, just business. Yeah, I was brought in to do a job, and my whole intention was to do the best of my ability to it. Even though I'm a rookie in the business, and like I told you earlier, I mean, I've never commentated before, so this is all new to me. I'm just going based off all the many Coliseum home videos that I've watched, and old school pay-per-views for WWF and WCW I've watched. I mean, that's just basically going off that. You know what I mean? So
Well, we were speaking about age and, we're talking about listening to interesting music. I was real big, and when CDs were big, I was buying all the like sounds of WWL, all the interesting CDs.
oh
I
yeah,
probably had like volumes 1 through 8. Like, I mean, looking back, it's like, when do you really listen to that? Like, but I just had to have them, man. It was just, like it was just to me, it was just another thing, the same as the little wrestling figures and the wrestling buddies and the, you know, something that Justice Styles said about. I think everybody at Naw at one time has cut out and made their own championship belt out of cardboard, plastic, something.
yeah.
Um, I probably had 2 or 3 of them, and the cool thing about when I was growing up is you made your belt like that, and the big trampolines had first came out.
Right.
Shoot, man, we were having Royal Rumbles and wrestling matches on trampolines way before it was cool.
Yeah, I did. I used to do the same thing back when I was a kid. My dad was on his third marriage at the time, and he his wife she had 2 kids from her previous marriage, and they had a big trampoline, and we would have little wrestling matches, also with the neighbor kids and stuff too. So of course they get onto us and all that. Ah, don't be doing that on the trampoline. Don't be doing that. Someone's gonna get hurt. Blah blah blah.
We used to have signed permission slips from our parents
No kid.
to go to our friend's house and jump on the trampoline because the parents were like, "I ain't responsible if you die out there." Like, but back then, us kids were built different than the kids these days. So, we could take a fall, and kids these days, they're not made up of the same materials we were back in the day.
No, no, they no, these kids that they have no idea. I mean,
Speaking of kids, if I could do a shout out or a plug real quick,
go right ahead, buddy.
um, me and this guy ain't close. I don't think we really even know each other. He's a fellow wrestler, Central City, superstar Ray Waddell. Him and his wife Kendra just had a baby. It's their first child. I'm sure he's gonna make a great father. Just want to shout that out. Tell them congratulations on their child. So
Most definitely, congratulations to those two. I've actually never met the Waddells. I've heard of them and I've heard of their promotion and whatnot. But that's awesome to hear. Parenthood is.
Man, they've been at it since young teenagers doing the backyard scene, and unfortunately, there's a lot of hostility between promotions and stuff for I don't know what reason, and I think a lot of it's egos and stuff, and then but they have a really real fine production. Their setup and their backdrops are phenomenal. The shows they put on are really good. I have nothing against their promotion or nothing like that. They're doing their thing, and just a friendly shout out from
Yeah.
one wrestler to another. Congratulations on their first child.
Yes, absolutely. And parenthood is a blessing. You know.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Well, uh, damn, we've been going at it for almost 3 hours, boss man. Um, damn, man.
You might have to break this up in a part one, part two.
I may have to. I mean, I'm actually going to have to do that with Justin Style because we had to cut it short because he had to go pick his wife up and all that. But he's eventually going to he'll either A, come back to the cave, or we'll do what me and you are doing right now, where I call him through the Google
Well, I
Play
tell you
store.
what, this is cool, and I love it,
I appreciate that,
and
man.
I'm very appreciative to you for doing this. But I want to come visit the cage as well.
Well, you're more than welcome to come anytime, boss.
I, the cage, I'll bring some. I'll bring some memorabilia. I'll bring some pictures. Um, we can go down memory lane. We can talk wrestling for hours. We'll make a time out of it.
That would be awesome, Coy. That would it'd be an honor. And yeah, I'd have to keep my dog kenneled up. I've got a female German Shepherd, and she's got a big bark, but she's like a big scaredy cat, you know. But
Oh yeah.
whenever Justin and Miss Betty have been down here before, I had to put her in a kennel and kind of cover her up so she quit barking. Hell, she barks at my mom and my stepdad, growls whenever they show up. But she's just very protective, very territorial, you know. And thank God, she's never bitten anybody. But I don't never want to take that chance. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'd love to have you over
See,
here. Go ahead.
to be honest, after this interview, I'm actually going to go in and listen to the one you did with Jared Brooks.
Oh, oh, Jonathan Brooks.
Well, Jonathan Brooks, whatever that referee's name is.
uh,
I'm interested to see what he has to say from a different perspective. So,
okay.
I mean, I find your podcast very intriguing. I think I told you the first night you announced it that this is going to be awesome, and I hope you can get JC on there. Hope you can get Roxo on there. Stay away from Chad McCoy. Um, you'd probably have to pay Chad McCoy, and it won't be worth the money you have to shell out. Nah, I'm kidding. I got a lot of respect for Chad. He's a damn good wrestler.
He sure as hell is. You know, I've got a lot of respect.
Damn good talker. Talks too much, but damn good talker.
Yeah, that's what Justin was saying. Justin was basically saying get him off the mic and all that. So, hopefully,
I do have one question before we close.
yes, sir.
What do you think about Casanova and Sid?
You mean the match they're about to have, or what I think about them as individuals?
To have here next month.
Buddy, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great match. I think it'll be an athletic, very competitive match. You know, I know Casanova's.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm very intrigued myself to see how that turns out. They're very, very similar.
Yes, sir.
I think they should actually have a sexy dance off and pose session as far as a match.
You know, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, because Sexy Sid's from Sexyville, USA, population one. You know, he always does that little dance of his and whatnot. So, you know, with Casanova, with his character and all that, that'd make perfect sense. Uh,
So a little story on that. Um, I know Casanova was training in a different organization. And like I said, I've been friends with his father and his uncle, Rowdy Red, and, Roughhouse Rickard and stuff, and Brandon Rickard. And I actually was in Evansville, and he'd come up. I think it was his, first match. And they asked if I'd work him his first match. And sure, I was, but I'm not going to take it easy on him. And you talk about coming out of the gate, somebody that was just, he was phenomenal. That kid has a ton of talent, a ton of, just it's in his blood. And I'll tell you, he hit me with probably one of the highest frog splashes I've ever seen somebody get up at.
really?
Oh yeah, I ain't ashamed to say he got over on me that night. He picked up the win. He's got, like I said, he's got tremendous talent. He's got a hell of a future ahead of him. So I want to see that match. I think it'd be good. They're both very, it's like I said, similar. They both, it ought to be good. it'll be good for the fans.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I know Sid's got a lot of hatred towards him from the fans because of him turning on Justin Style, and then
That's the match I'm looking forward to.
oh hell yes, yeah, I cannot wait.
Whether it happens or not,
Yeah,
I would, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Sid get lucky over Casanova. Casanova's young; his time will come.
right.
You don't ever know what might happen though. Hell, you can shock everybody.
It,
Um, you know, but I'd like to see Justin take that belt off of Sid.
yeah, yeah, that'd be quite the ending for that story. Given their history together and stuff.
Well, I don't think it would be an ending, but
Right,
Sid
right.
ain't just gonna roll over.
Well, that's true. That's true. Before we go, I want to plug the next NAW event again, folks. It is March the 8th, 7 p.m. at the Nebo Community Center. Ticket prices 5 and under get in free. Ages 6 to 12, it's $5, and then anybody 13 and older, it is $8. There are concessions that are offered. This is a family-friendly promotion, and we would greatly appreciate it if you are able to come out that night. And I promise you will enjoy your time, and you will definitely not be disappointed. And again, I want to plug the GoFundMe account. It is to help Ben build a future for indie wrestling stars, and the link is gofund.me/9B as in boy, 2F as in Frank, C as in Charles, 903. And Coy, before we go, also I'd like could you give any advice to anybody that's wanting to get into this business? What advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, I would like to plug. We talk about concessions. Get you some of them delicious cheesy hot dogs.
Yes, sir.
You can't go wrong with them cheesy hot dogs. Um, Second off, come on out and support these guys. I mean, they pour their heart out into it. Um, it is a great family show. There's twists, there's turns, surprises. You never know what's going to happen, who's going to be there. It's just it's well worth the $8. You can't do anything else around town that's that much exciting for that much money or for that little money. Um, as far as advice, um, if it's something you want to do, it's in your heart. Find these trainers. Find reputable trainers that you can trust. Um, Go for it, man. Put everything you got into it. 110%. And you might not know. You might be sitting here on a podcast years later, reminiscing how it's the best thing that's ever happened to you, other than the birth of your children.
Yes, sir.
It's the memories and the stories that you can't replace, and the brotherhood and the friends, JC, Justin, all them guys. You won't regret it.
And
But
folks,
always
go
keep
ahead.
your ears open and your mouth shut.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And folks, if you want to know an example of somebody that didn't keep their mouth shut, look up the mass transit incident. You can find it on YouTube. That's just one example. That's probably a little over the top example, but you'll understand once you hear about it and stuff. But
Or go on YouTube and look up the Nall Tyler Santos Viper match.
there you go. Yes, sir. Well, Coy, thank you again for taking time out of your day to come be on the podcast.
Man, my pleasure.
It was an absolute honor and a privilege to have you, and I definitely look forward to having you again. And I definitely hope I get to see you at the next show, buddy.
Oh, definitely. And have some snacks at the cave. I'm a big old boy.
What kind of snacks do you like?
Slim Jims, baby.
Slim
Slim
Jims.
Jims and Gatorades.
Yeah. All right. Slim Jims and Gatorade. All right, man.
No, I'm just kidding you. I'm actually on a diet right now. I'm trying to lose a few because, like I said, I got a plan.
I understand that. Well, if you change your mind, I always keep plenty of Debbie cakes and cookies, and and I always have some sort of soft drinks here. So, but
You're gonna get me in trouble.
well, I definitely don't want to do that, buddy. So, because then if you get in
I'll have
trouble,
the bodyguard with me. She'll keep me away from that.
oh, that's awesome. All right, well,
She
Corey, go ahead. I'm sorry.
she keeps me in line now. She wants me to be around for a while. So
Well, you got a good. It sounds like you got a good woman, man. So,
I got a great woman.
yes, sir. Well, Coy, you take care, buddy. You be safe out there, and hope to see you on the 8th, buddy. Thanks again for
Yes,
coming
sir.
to the
We'll see you
podcast.
down the road.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Bye
see you.
bye.
Bye bye. All right, folks. Again, thank you for listening to this episode. You folks take care, and God bless.